I think we're good. Hello, everybody, and welcome to BRL's ACC Xbox division here in the beautiful Spa in Belgium. We're here for round number 4, and I am joined alongside everyone's favorite commentator. Hey, Katra. Would you like to introduce yourself as we get underway?
I've told you not to call me that. But yes, I am here if you do care. I am back for, I guess, another workload. 2 hours this time.
Yeah, we've got a very long one again. You know, she's only done long races, so I appreciate it, but it makes you really not want to do them after
It's
commentate
just
for the full.
just fun and kind, fun and games. A lot of time, a lot of words, a lot of action.
Hopefully we do have a lot of action today, and I'm hoping that it shapes up to be a pretty good one as well. People are finishing their first qualifying laps, and we have Jug beating John by just over 5/10 of a second. Stolowski and Carnival have set times as well. Tricky track to get right because of the natural understeer that these big GT3 cars have. In F1, it's easy flatten a lot of these corners, and these cars is definitely not. So it becomes a hassle for a lot of these guys. We have a spin up Radion, and back to the pits goes that car. I did not get to catch who it was. But yeah, it's difficult to stay on the track. You have to have at least 2 tires on the red and yellow curbing for the lap to stay valid. So it's difficult for a lot of these guys, especially through the fast high speed in Sector 2 and in the beginning of Sector 1 as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a major occurrence for these guys to try to keep it within the track limits, like you said. It's going to be it's a lot more lenient in Assetto Corsa Competizione, but it also can be a lot more strict. Grab those 2 or 3 warnings you have to your name, and then it's no time penalty. It's a drive-through, so... But, I mean, these drivers are going to have 2 hours once the race does start to go across and kind of pan and drive as fast as you can, as far as you can, and as consistent as you can across the 7-kilometer track with 20 corners, just 9 lefts and 11 rights. So that's going to be a major test of these drivers' endurance.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can go either way, really. It'll be, can you figure yourself out in the 2 hours and get the track nailed down pat, or do you overwork yourself, get too tired, and you pick up too many warnings and end up getting the big time penalties that you see in this game? So it's an interesting dynamic. We'll see who's up for the job and who isn't, but I think either way we're in store for a good one. I don't believe any rain is forecasted for today. It's going to be this overcast weather for the entire thing, so tire temps shouldn't be too much of an issue, and these guys can go all guns blazing on these.
Yep, speaking of guns blazing, I mean, the first 3 rounds at Monza, at Hungary, and at Britain, we see, at Silverstone to be more specific, we saw a lot of action, but it's not really as impressive as top 2 in the championship, who are ironically top 2 in the qualifying session. Jug and John tied at 76 points apiece. Jug with 2 wins to his name at Monza and at Hungary, with John second places at both those circuits, and John winning a week ago in a very chaotic finish. I'm not sure if you caught that, but it was fun to watch those two. So that's going to be who can get the upper hand at the first real endurance test so far this season, 2 hours of Spa.
Yeah, I was on board with John on that final lap. I was gassing him up, making sure that he got all his recognition for winning that race, and then all of a sudden final corner comes, and well, if you saw last week, you know exactly what happened. So it was a crazy finish last weekend, and I don't know if we'll see the same today. I can't guarantee, but 2 hours we should have a lot of traffic for the leaders to navigate through, and it's not required for them to pull off the road either if they want to try and stay on that lead lap. So that could be a big factor in today. Another factor will be dirty air / slipstream. How much do you get down the big straights, and how much dirty air will you pick up in Sector 2? does it balance out? And we'll figure out that question relatively quickly in the race, and we'll be able to see how much passing will be able to be accomplished. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that dynamic is going to work out tonight.
Well, there's another dynamic establishing as well. This is the first 2-hour race of the season. Every round before this has been 1 hour.
Absolutely.
But with this 2-hour race also comes 2 mandatory stops. So not only do you have to stop the normal one time you did at Monza, at Hungaroring, and at Silverstone, you got to come in a second time. So strategy is also going to be a big play. I feel like I'm echoing myself from Imola, the season finale.
Yeah,
if you do recall that.
It's very similar. It is very similar from that, and I mean, it does draw a lot of parallels, because now, I mean, refueling has been allowed this entire season. It was for Imola in the finale when you were there, and that adds an extra dynamic to the racing. Do you fuel up the car as much as you can, go long, and hope that you don't have to refuel the car as much as others in the pit stops, and that's how you'll make up time? Or do you go short on the fuel, make sure even out your stints, but then you have to refuel in the pit lane, lose a bit of time there? So it's going to be an interesting dynamic to see what everybody chooses to do today. But I think my strategy, from what I've seen, has been working, is go lighter on the fuel and refuel in the stops, because we saw, if you remember, Feta in that finale just did not look comfortable in that first and second stint, because he just had way too much fuel in the car, and that really cost him a lot of positions in that race.
Yeah, it's going to be a major strategy call for a lot of these drivers and these teams, because that's one thing that we didn't have a season ago, is these mandatory 3-car teams. And speaking of those 3-car teams, go look at Lambo. 1-3, Feta and Stowe. You actually just spoke about Feta G's in the Lamborghini. He's now up to P3 with Stowe grabbing provisional pole by 0.06 of a second over Jug. And Feta not too far behind, 0.02 behind the Lexus.
I think Carnival's got a bit more pace in that. He's down in 9th at the moment, but don't believe he's hit his optimal lap times just yet, so expect him to maybe jump up into that top 5 or 6 area. Big gap from 2nd to 3rd at the moment. That should go down after John and Skeppy and all of those guys go and set their laps. Shout out to Neymar as well, by the way. He's still in the top 5 in the point standings. He is tied at the moment with BRL Skeppy, last year's champion, by the way. Or last season's champion. Why did I say year? It feels like it's been a year since that happened, but yeah, he's done really, really well so far, and it's going to be a big test for him today, especially the longer race. Can he keep the hand cramps out of his system driving around here? I'm not too sure how he'll go. He's currently 8th at the moment, riding along in Lexus's teammate up in 2nd, so we know it's got more pace in it. It's just whether or not he can extract it. And I'm not sure how different those 2 cars' setups will be from each other, so we'll see how it goes.
Speaking of teammates, is Skeppy and John. That's one thing I've noticed, is those 2 have been quick the 3 races we've had so far this season, and it's been fun to watch, because remember, as you said, Skeppy, last season's champion, and John gave him a run for his money. He was actually the championship runner-up and the championship rival at Imola, so those 2 are going to be pretty tough to beat, but they're going to have to go through, especially the likes of Jug, who is once again the championship leader, but Embo's looking quick. Stowe's going down into Lecom now, into turn, I believe, 7?
Maybe. I need a refresh. I know the corner names, but I can't tell you the corner number, which usually it's the opposite. Yeah, Stowe, he won last season at this very racetrack. He is very good around here, no matter the car. Last year was in the last season in the McLaren. This time it's in the Lamborghini, and it looks like he's got good pace again. So watch out for him to be a sneak winner tonight. He's currently 3rd in the standings, 24 points back from Jug and John, both tied at 76. So if he wins tonight, you see Jug and John maybe get a little bit of some Hamilton Verstappen drama. They take each other out. Don't count out Stowe in this championship either. We'll see how he goes. And as well as Skeppy, he's going to be trying to make up some much-needed points after a slow start to the season so far.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed as kind of watching it and tuning in through is obviously, if you guys are unaware, I am the race director for a lot of the Grand Prix that we had, especially the 3 before this. So watching some of these guys like Stowe, like Skeppy, have a lot of, I guess, unfortunate luck and bad luck, if you may, it's unusual to see. So these guys are not on the back foot to guys like John, like Jug. But by the way, you know who is on the back foot? You said Carnival has a little bit of pace left over. It's not his ultimate lap time. Well, that proves it. He's up to 4th. Lambo has 3 drivers, all 3 in the top 5.
Lamborghini looks really strong around this circuit, in particular the flat curbs and the undulation aspect of a lot of this racetrack really suiting that race car to a T. So looks good for that team so far, as we have Feta starting a lap. He took the nice wide line out of the final chicane, the bus stop chicane, and is going to see if he can improve on his lap time. We'll hop on board on an in-car camera so you guys can get to see the action from the cockpit. A little bit swirly, and that will invalidate the lap time straight away. So find someone else to hop on board with. Is Skeppy on a lap at the moment? Yes, he is, and that is a big delta. He is up almost 5/10 heading down the backstretch to the bus stop chicane. Will it be big enough improvement to take pole, though? We'll see. He's getting a bit of a slipstream from Ratley Whisper here in front.
He's looking good. So
now it does look good. We'll see if he gets the braking right. A little bit hesitant on the way in. We'll see if he gains the time back on the exit, though. Ooh, a little bit of a slide there. You heard it in the tires, and that's lost him 2/10. It wasn't a good chicane. He'll move up to 6th, but he's still got more time, and especially we saw that final chicane, he's got some time there.
yeah, I mean, I'm not sure, because I don't know if you saw. Actually, you can see it now. Look at just the traffic. It was extreme amount of traffic going through to 701, 702 with some of these guys. But look, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you count Skeppy, 5 cars within one sector, especially on this Camel Straight. 2 in front of Skeppy, as he actually does kind of cut through Radion a little bit. But I mean, it's going to be a big thing in qualifying here with about 13 minutes left to go with some change. Is traffic's going to be a big thing, and Skeppy needs to find enough space. He's trying to kind of slow down a little bit, as I believe that is Jug in front of him, getting away from Skeppy.
Yeah, it's a big track, so it is easy to find. Excuse me, that's my brother. He's raging at Pokemon. I don't understand how you can rage at Pokemon. But it's a big track, and there's a lot of room to find, but with the 16 cars we have right now, I believe one person might have lagged out or had some issues. We should have 17, hopefully.
I think it was Ratley Whisper.
Yeah, that does. His name is not on the left-hand side, so probably an issue either with his servers or Wi-Fi or something acting up, and hopefully he'll be able to get back in before the qualifying ends, so you can start the race with the field. But yeah, it's easy to find space, but at the same time, if you're all trying to go out at the last minute, making sure you get the most out of the track evolution, you're gonna find a car park going into the bus stop chicane, and you might see a few people fall short of getting to start a final lap.
Yeah, speaking of this bus stop chain you're talking about now, you see there's actually this little group of cars that was talking about a lot of traffic going through. We've actually followed through. And some pretty big names in it. You see Stalo in the other Lexus, the third one. He's actually gone up to 5th ahead of Neymar and not too far behind, with just under a second of Juggernog. But also behind him is the guy you talked about, Neymar himself, going through into turn 1 into Lecombe. But behind him is Jug, like we saw, Skeppy, and then Stolowski. That is some pretty big hitters in the top 5 drivers.
Yeah, all 3 of the big names besides John. John's out in sector 2 right now, so he's got himself a very nice, clean portion of track. But Skeppy, you've got Jug as well. They're all in Sector 1, so as long as they'll be able to stay away from each other so long as nobody messes up too badly. So they should be all right for the time being. But it's when it comes down to crunch time qualifying, you're trying to cool off the tires for a final run. Someone else is on a flyer and they don't want to back off. It gets sketchy. So
yeah, that's going to be a big thing coming in about 10 minutes time, or 10 and a half if you want to be specific, is these guys having their final flyer runs. It takes about, what, 2 minutes 20 seconds. That is our pole provisional time, the 2:18.6 to be exact. So it takes around that lap time to get across. So these guys will have come out at a specific amount of time, not only for that one run, that out lap, but even a second lap if they wish to do it as well. So it's going to be who goes out for how many laps, how much fuel do you have in the car, and do you avoid traffic. That's going to be key there.
Not to alarm you, but we do have Jug on an absolute heater right now. He is about 3.5 tenths up, heading into Sector 3. Down to second gear, get the rotation. Make sure you keep a tire on that red and yellow. He does so nicely. 3.5 tenths up now as he hits the back stretch, and he's getting a nice little tow from a teammate. BRL Neymar and the Lexus gets a couple hundredths there, just as they're entering. Jug will head to the final chicane. Will he get the braking right? We messed it up earlier when we were on board with him. We'll see how Jug goes. First gear, rotate the car, use the curbs, don't hit the red sausage on the inside, and Jug has done that to almost perfection. 4.5 tenth improvement. He's going to improve on his pole time now. 2:18.225. That is really, really quick.
Yes, it is indeed. I mean, if you go look at the sector times, Jug has 2 of the 3 purple sectors so far, and it's kind of close in the first sector too. Solowski with the purple sector 1 of 41.112. Jug is not too far off, less than a tenth, separating the Lambo and the Lexus of 41.202, but the rest, it's about a tenth improvement in the middle sector. 4 tenths in the final sector.
That's a crazy improvement, and it can't all be straight line speed, because Sector 1, they're pretty much even, so he's finding something under braking that Stolowski has not yet, and neither has John or Carnival or Stylo or Skeppy. So Jug's found something magical in the final sector, and we'll see if anyone else can figure it out. I was on board with them for the final sector, so if any of them caught it, they might have a idea of where he found it, but I don't know if anyone's going to be able to catch that. We had an interesting fact from Ichigo in the Twitch chat. He said the current pole time, that was before Jug even set this lap, current pole time is a second faster than last season, which that's a crazy stat to me, because the track, I think it's a little bit better now. I believe they would go faster at if it was the last season, but a whole second, they've really stepped up their game the past couple months.
Yeah, that's an incredible factoid right there. I mean, a second faster. I mean, we don't know how well the track conditions are improved this season compared to last, or even how much the drivers have improved due to last. And that's been one thing, is with more laps in the game, more practice, no matter what car you're in, you improve ever so slightly into the point where you are. That's Jug. We've seen him. He's been pretty much, I mean, up here towards the entire time he's been in through the ACC tier at Breakout Racing League. He's kind of there with Skeppy. We think of Skeppy, though. Skeppy in the first season wasn't as dominant as he was in Season 2. So improvement goes a long way, and the track improvement apparently has definitely gone a long way. Look at GameStopper. Ooh, barely missing. Skeppy misses GameStopper on the Camel Straight, grabbing that toe, though, into Lecombe.
Yeah, Jug improved again, by the way, another tenth.
There
so 2:18.180. 6.5 tenths up on Stolowski, who's the next closest. We're gonna see if no, Skeppy's not on a good lap either. He must have messed up the first corner, or up Eau Rouge and Radion, but 5.5 tenths back. I don't think he's gonna be able to make up that time on his current lap. We'll see if he goes again. Anybody else on laps? John's hitting Sector 3 invalid, did not set a time. Stolowski's just starting one, so we'll see what he's got.
Keeps it kind of nice and tidy.
Yeah, it was very tidy. He didn't use all that curb on the exit, but still dead even with his previous best, which was the fastest Sector 1, so looks good at the moment.
So
very nice on the rotation.
One thing I do want to point out, as we do watch Stowe in the background of this, is so the statistics so far for qualifying, average qualifying for Jug is 2.0 through 3 races, but only 0.3 behind is John. Well, if you go look at the time tables right now, that's a second gap between Jug and John. But I also want to point out, Jug is 1.5 seconds faster, roughly, than his nearest teammate in P5, and another additional second faster than Neymar down in 9th. That is on a complete another level.
And I know they're sharing setups, so they work together a lot. Mainly, Jug just gives Neymar and whoever is with them the setup to run. But yeah, Jug's just been on another level in this game, and Stolowski a little too wide, and that'll invalidate that attempt. He was pretty much dead even with his previous best, so not good enough for him. Here's Skeppy. He's a 10th down again after Sector 1. He's just not had great quality pace this season. It's really been limiting him, unfortunately. I'm not sure if it's him trying to get used to this Merc after being in that Audi last season, but his race pace hasn't taken a step back. It's just been the one-lap quality pace that he's really struggled with so far. And it's like we're only 4 rounds in, yes, but it's a 10-race season, so realistically we're almost halfway through this thing. So if he can't sort out the one-lap pace now, I don't know when he's going to be able to do it.
Well, 3 minutes and 45 seconds remaining, so these guys who are in the pits, they need to get out pretty soon, within about 2 minutes and 30 seconds at maximum, if they want to have a nice and, I guess, strolling, virtuous lap for an outlap to set one final time. You have the maximum wait time, roughly, 3 minutes or so. So you still have that time to go set a lap. But I've also go look at P5, P6, P7, that gap between Celio, Feta, and Skeppy were on, I believe. It's the gap between Skeppy and Feta themselves is only 6 milliseconds. But the gap between Feta and Celio is 3 milliseconds, as Feta's actually gone back out track for a lap. But don't look too far up the road. Carnival is roughly a little less than a 10th ahead of the P5 machine of Celio. So those guys up there, I mean, there's still a 3/10 improvement to John, but it looks like Stowe and Jug are just a complete other level right now, and Stowe is still 8/10 off.
Yeah, it's Jug on one level, Stolowski on another, and then it's basically the entire field. We're in store for a good race in the mid-pack if this is what's to come, but Jug might have another win on the books if it stays like this. And I haven't seen Stolowski or Skeppy really find any pace. Skeppy might have invalidated that. He did not. He found a lot of time then. It's 2/10 up. Will he be able to carry more time? Because if he improves 2/10, that's an extra 2 to 3 spots, which is crucial track position off the start. So we'll see if he's able to carry this through. 2.5 tenths up now. 1 minute and 53 seconds left in quali. If you're not on the track now, you're not getting another lap in. So coming down to the final moments now. Skeppy's finding time. He's finding a lot of time. 4 tenths up. It's whether or not he can keep it clean. He's got another minute to go about on this lap.
Just remember, I don't think he's actually improved ever since his little squabble in the final bus stop chicane, so that could be also a little bit of improvement there. We'll have to see by the time it comes at that point of the track.
Yeah, we'll see. He's lost a little bit of time, a little bit wide there as well, but still 3.5 tenths up. It's a lot of time relative to those around him. Nice exit down the back straight. It's going to be almost 4 tenths up as he heads into the bus stop chicane. It's whether or not he's going to be able to brake late enough, keep the car in check, don't slide the tires through the middle. Will he be able to do so? We'll see how he goes now into the chicane. We're on the brakes, down to first gear, keep it in check. Looked nice through the first apex. Yeah, he's found a lot of time. He's found so much time. He found 2 more tenths of a second. It'll be a 6-tenth improvement. Where will it put him? It'll put him up into 3rd place at the death. But still, 1.1 seconds off of Jug.
Yeah, I mean, he got into the 17s, Jug did barely. It was a 17.949, but he still got there. He's going to be done for qualifying. Stowe's going to be done for qualifying. Same with Stillo and Feta, both 6th, 7th. That's going to be the max they can do. Both Ferraris down, Hulk and Redeemer, 15th, 16th, respectively. They're done for qualifying, so it's just these guys who can finish their laps. Gucci's done.
Again, you see in the final chicane, there's a couple cars here. Calzone are a bit deep into the first apex of it, but we'll see who goes where as we hit the final second. Calzone will not improve. Arabian Killer will be next to the line. He's currently 11th, but he's got to find a lot of time to crack that top 10 in quali. We'll see if he's going to be able to get it done. Final chicane, looked a little bit hesitant on the throttle out on the exit. You'll find a 10th, but still a lot of time to find if he wanted to gain another position. It's, I believe, Soviet Valkyrie up next, and then it'll be John. So we'll see, can John, Valkyrie very deep into the chicane. Drive it out though. See if we get an improvement. They improved by about a second, but will stay 14th, and now it comes down to John on the final straight. He is dead even with his time. He needs to find a 10th to beat Skeppy and be the top Merc. We'll see, does he have time in this final chicane? Looked up the apex. Oh, a little bit of oversteer in the middle, though. Will he be able to carry it out? Yes, he will. He's going to be able to improve 2.5 tenths, and he will steal 3rd place at the death off of Skeppy. But the man of the hour, right, is Jug on pole with a 17.9, only one to do a 17. Stolowski will take 2nd, and then it'll be the 2 Mercs of John and Skeppy on row 2. Carnival and Stylo row 3. Feta, Calzone, Neymar, and Gucci Lucci rounds out your top 10. I think we're in store for a good one.
Well, I hope so, and right now, the only person who believes that this race could go absolutely flawlessly if put together right is Jug. That pace advantage right now, 8 tenths, almost 9.891 to be specific. I mean, he's the only one that's in the 17s, and if I'm not mistaken, you said while we were in the 18s, we were about a second improvement. That's what pointed out from DXD in the chat. Well, I believe this is almost close to a 2-second improvement on a season ago. That's rapid.
Yeah, that's incredible. The track is at optimum level, and it's overcast, so there's no tire temperatures to be worried about. But still, 2 seconds is nuts around any track, really, let alone this one where it's so technical and so tricky to get right. So that I'm not sure does anyone have a shot? Do you think anybody in that top 5, top 7 has that much better race pace than what they've shown in quali?
It's going to be tough. I mean, obviously, Skeppy has race pace. We've already mentioned that he is going to be better in that race due to him still, struggling a little bit in qualifying. Same with John. He's had a lot of race pace, especially if you look back to Silverstone. That's been one race that has pretty much highlighted his race pace. But the main thing that I've noticed is you never can really count on your track position. I mean, one wrong thing that goes wrong, a guy behind you, this is his braking point. You miss your braking point. You go off. You run out of fuel. You get a bad strategy. You get a drive-through. It's all can play out, and now that it's 2 hours instead of 1, it's going to be 120 minutes. of a lot of pressure, especially going to be on the likes of Jug, Stowe, and John. Those are provisional podium sitters right now. It's can they keep it on the track, first off, and within the rule books? Because if they can do that, they should be fine.
Yeah, they should be all right if they can keep it on track and make sure that they stay consistent. Consistency is going to be key tonight, especially with the close proximity of a lot of grass, gravel, and barriers just outside a lot of this race track. So, yeah, it can't afford too many mistakes. You can afford a few, but even though it's a 2-hour race, realistically, when it comes down to it, if you have to make an extra pit stop, you have extra damage on the car, it's going to be difficult to make up that time. So we'll see how everybody attacks this race, and we now will wait about 2.5 minutes or so until we get the cars rolling, and you can see on the left hand side of your screen next to their driver number there's a orange box with a number 2 in it. That means that they have to make 2 mandatory pit stops in this race we talked about a little bit earlier, but just for those who are tuning in now, 2 mandatory stops tonight. You must take tires on them, and refueling on either of them is optional, so you can fuel up the car to the max now and go long, or you can spread out your fuel stints evenly or unevenly if you really wanted to. Well, it opens up a bit of strategy in this one, and hopefully we get a good show from it.
Yep, that's going to be a big implication as well. On top of the strategy is safety car. Well, will we have a safety car tonight? Well, what will happen? Will we have a multiple safety car? I mean, these guys can take advantage of a possible safety car coming out, pitting at that mandatory stop. But here's the thing. If you do that and it kind of cuts your stint in half, or maybe even the beginning of the stint, like the pit lane just open, we have a safety car, and you come in and take that choice, you're going to have a long ask of those tires on that stint before you have to pit once more. So it's going to be a really calculation from these guys of how much do they want to stretch it, if they even have to stretch it, and if they have to stretch it, how well can they do it? Because the tires, I'm not sure how well. I mean, if you keep it in a nurtured level and your tire wear is going to be minimum, have a lot of tire for, I mean, later on in the stint, because, I mean, that's going to be a big issue that we saw, especially like we mentioned. We keep mentioning back Imola, but, I mean, it's one thing we didn't mention is once tires start falling off and you have that amount of fuel, like high fuel, your tires are going to get even worse. So if you have minimum and low fuel and some pretty okay tire wear, your tires are going to be okay for the rest of the stint or the actual stint you have. So it's going to be depending on tire wear, fuel, safety cars, and driver skill for the 2 hours.
Yeah, it's going to come down to a lot of factors, and we'll see who does it best.
30 seconds.
About 30 seconds to go. There's your indication. 30 seconds to go until we get rolling. These guys putting in their final altercations, making sure they got their fuel loads correct, making sure everything on the setups is working to perfection, and then we'll get the engines fired up and around turn 1 to get the drop of the green flag. So who's going to be able to come out on top? Jug is looking for a 3rd win this season out of 4. Stolowski's looking for a back-to-back win at Spa. John's looking to not even close the gap. He's looking to take away the championship lead from that guy in first. And Skeppy is looking for a bounce-back race after a tough start to the season. So top 4 all have some big storylines to follow, and we'll follow it the entire way. 2 hours around Spa as we await the green flag. Coming up now as maybe Jug to take him off the line. Green is out. They'll be heading up Eau Rouge and Radion. Stolowski looks like he's got a great jump off the line, and he's going to be able to take away the lead from Jug into the straight. And now here comes Jug. The Lexus has had great straight line speed all season, but I think he's a bit too far back. He's under pressure from John and Skeppy, the 2 mercs from behind. farther back there, side by side. We'll see if anything comes from that. Hopefully no collisions to start anyone off really terribly in this race. But at the front, Stolowski has taken away the race lead from Jug, and John and Skeppy have held position in 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, it's actually been a really clean start. That's not what I expected at all through so far this 2 hours of Spa. That's going to be one lap easier. These guys will have to breathe a little bit less. Now it's time to focus and get your head down.
If you can get in a groove as fast as possible, you will be able to pull away and extend your margin to the cars around you. That's what Stolowski's going to be looking to do, but right now Jug is trying to make sure that does not happen, make sure he can't get in a groove, and make sure that he can get back around that Lamborghini. He's got 2 hours to do it, but we've seen many things go wrong in the dirty air, many things go awry on a curb or two, and that could spell race over. It's tricky to get everything right, but I just don't think Jug's going to be able to take it back before the end of lap 1. I think Stolowski will lead the first lap unless Jug gets a nice run into this final chicane. He's closing in right now. He's closing in on Stolowski into the bus stop chicane. Will he be able to get a lunge? I know that Lexus has straight line speed. Does it have brake performance over the Lamborghini? To the outside goes Jug. Stolowski holding the inside, side by side into the chicane. Stolowski a little bit deep, trying to defend from Jug. No contact made on the apex, and it looks like Jug is going to be able to take back the race lead just before lap 1 comes to a close. But fighting on the outside, here comes Stolowski. Not going to be able to make that one happen on the off-camera. Oh, that's a spin from Jug into the wall. Might have some right-hand damage on that car, and that's what we've been talking about all the way up into the first stages of this race. You cannot afford too many mistakes, and that's a huge one from pole sitter Jug.
Yeah, that's going to be detrimental to his Grand Prix, because now even if he has damage, it's going to be smarter to figure out what you do from here. Pit lane is open, but meanwhile up front, Skeppy's looking at his teammate. He looked going in the run into Orush and Radion, let it by. John later on the brakes. He's going to stay in P2 ahead of his teammate in the other Merc.
Nice defending from John to keep Skeppy at bay. They're both under pressure from Stolowski's teammate behind. That is Cold Carnival in the Lamborghini. Don't count out Neymar as well, currently sitting in 5th. But this really opens up this race because now Jug is going to have some work to do, and he's been the fastest car all day. But will that damage hamper him? Does he have too much damage? I don't think he'll have to pit. It wasn't too fast into the wall. It'll probably just be a little bit of aero damage. He should be a-okay in this one to continue on as normal for his first stint. Man, that's a bit of drama to start this race off, and we'll see how he progresses back through the fields, if he'll be able to progress back through the field tonight.
Well, apparently, I'm not sure. I mean, I missed it myself, but apparently there's been a contact in the first sector because I go and cut to Gucci Lucci, and he is extremely off the pace trying to fight his Ferrari car because he has rear wing damage. He backed it into the wall somewhere, and I believe it may have had a little bit of help from GameStopper because when I cut to him,
I think he's got some steering damage on that thing. He can't keep it on the road. That car, when he puts his wheel straight, it's turning. I think it's turning to the left of it. You could see it there. Yeah, he's struggling to keep it in a straight line. So that's heavy damage for Gucci Lucci. And that's not how he would have wanted to start his race off. GameStopper as well, yeah, off the pace off the back of the field. So those two, not the stars they would have wanted.
Meanwhile, a little bit up the road, 7 seconds to be exact, Alpha Nisus battling with Hulk Smash in for P13 at the final chicane. Alpha Nisus dove it down the inside, they left the space, it was nice and clean. Hulk Smash got a little worse run out. Alpha Nisus gets up to P13 in the Aston Martin.
He's got a bit of work to do to not qualify well, as Hulk Smash looked up the inside, but a little too far back to get that one done. Alpha Nisus will stay in 13th. We'll jump back up to the guys out front. John has put a bit of a buffer between him and Skeppy. Skeppy more under pressure from Cold Carnival there for 3rd place. Carnival, oh, very early apex to home chicane, but keeps the car in a straight line. You should be okay to keep on going, but yeah, it's interesting. We're going to be able to see which car is better on the tires. We have a straight fight 2v2 at the front, but can't count out the guys behind them. Jug has gotten back up into 6th. It's a Lexus 567 at the moment, so they'll probably try and work together to try and get back up into the fight. Neymar might be letting Jug go by here. Yes, he is. He's letting Jug get in front, and he'll try and follow him through to a better spot in that top 5.
How have we let that happen then? How is that a Lexus 567?
Yeah, I don't know, and it's also the Lambo versus Mercedes out front, and we don't have any other car but besides those big 3 manufacturers of Lamborghini, Mercedes, and Lexus in the entire top 9.
I bet some of the viewers tuning in, if you said, I mean, I know you're going to get it, if you see the big 3, would you say that applies to ACC now as well with Lambo, Lexus?
It'll have
Mercedes?
to, because look at, they take up the 9 of the top 10, and then behind them it's Aston Martin. 10,
oh my
11th,
God.
and 12th.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it's a very car-dependent racetrack, it seems.
Apparently, and it's funny because you said the Lambos, they like the flat curves here at Spa-Francorchamps. Well, I mean, apparently Code Carnival doesn't, because I mean he's trying to make his own curves.
He is. He's trying to use that the green AstroTurfs and the extra pieces of asphalt on the entries and exits. We have a safety car out. Taylor Clan is going to be stopping in front of this field. That's a big break for Jug, and it's a big break for the guys like Gucci Lucci, Redeemer, and GameStopper towards the back, who did not get a good start to this race.
Actually, it just gets worse for Redeemer. I think I figured out why the safety car comes out. Go cut to him. He has some pretty heavy damage on the rear end of that Ferrari there.
He does, and he stayed out of the pit lane. I believe he'll probably come in once he realizes that the safety car is out. He just glitched right through the track for me. Oh my goodness, this scared the living hell out of me. But that Ferrari does not look like it's in good condition. He'll be able to make a stop, take off one of the mandatory stops. We'll see what he decides to do on strategy from there, as well as Gucci Lucci. He's just picked up a stop-go. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. He'll be able to serve it under the safety car. But yeah, you can see those two will most likely only have one mandatory stop to do. And it'll be interesting to see that dynamic of the race. Will we see some of the race leaders come make their pit stops? Do you think that might come into play here?
It's going to be tough. I mean, I guarantee you Jug may come in and see if he can repair that little bit of damage, if he has any at all. But, I mean, maybe some of these guys, like, I mean, maybe Skeppy would try to come in, see if he can get any, maybe fresher tires, maybe a little bit of fuel in the car, kind of top off. I wouldn't expect these guys to go a full 50 or 60 or whatever the number they have for their calculations fuel injection for this stop. Because, I mean, we just started the Grand Prix about 3 laps ago. So they're going to have roughly pretty much almost topped off tanks unless they have gone for the lighter method. So if that's the case and they've gone for that lighter method, this is a perfect chance, an opportunity for these guys to go in and top off their fuel tanks for the second stint and maybe kind of reduce the amount of fuel they have to take for that last one.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what happens. Will we see any of these guys come in? And that might tell us 2 things about the strategies. It'll either be what you said with a short pit for the first stint and they're just going to do it now and get it over with, or it might be they want to go as long as possible, so they'll re-top off the fuel. No one from the top 3 heads in. It doesn't look like we're going to have many takers, and I believe Chug stays out. Neymar, Feta, everybody staying out now. I don't think anyone has come into the lane. So yeah, everybody's sticking it out. It's a little too early to take that top off on fuel, or it's a little too early for that. We say short pit, but really you're going half an hour realistically for your first pit stop at the least, at minimum. So
This is probably
A
why.
little too early for a lot of them, like
Yeah.
And Gucci's back in the lane, serving his stop-go. Deemer did not pit.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not sure exactly what that strategy is, but here's the thing with Gucci Lucci is it's a stop-go. So that's going to be on his pit stop if he serves it, which means he will already clear his stops, and it's only 10 minutes in.
Yeah, we should see that green box shine on him, which means he'll have to make another stop.
Yeah.
There's no way he can do this entire time on fuel. Tires is a different story. You might actually be able to accomplish that, but
Actually, that could be his saving grace.
It could be.
Because if he doesn't have to take tires, he could pull the endurance racing strategy. Take tires now and not take it his second stint if they're healthy enough and just refuel.
Interesting. We'll see if his strategy pays off for him a little later. But
Safety cars run wide.
I'm interested. Burn Maylander having a little bit too much fun in that thing. Taylor's done a nice job recreating the red Mercedes safety car that we see in a Formula 1. That's pretty nice on the racetrack here.
It does. I believe it's next lap, if I'm wrong, that the safety car will go in.
It'll either be this or next. Gucci's still in the pit lane, so maybe it won't work for him if Taylor does pull away from them this time. But Stolowski's sticking pretty close to Taylor at the moment, so I'm
Coming in this lap.
Yes, we go this. Yeah, we are gonna go this time. So Gucci's gonna be half a lap down. That's unfortunate for him. The stop-go did cost him, and it did not serve his second mandatory stop, so the stop-go does not count towards that.
Yeah, I believe he just did not take tires, which is mandatory.
Did not take any tires, yeah. Just served the stop-go and went. So Stolowski will lead us back to green flag, running 1 hour 47 minutes remain. And we will be back underway once Stolowski hits the throttle pedal. Looks like he's going to go now, so looks like he's going to get a nice run up Eau Rouge, and he should not be under too much pressure from John and Skep behind. Yeah, everybody looks to be clean off the restart, a little bit spread out between, it was, I believe, Feta and Neymar. A little further back, so there's a big gap in the field there.
Jug is right there next to Carnival.
They're going to be side by side. A little bit of contact heading in to the chicane, but Jug is going to get the move done on Carnival. Little bit of contact, but both should be okay. Maybe it'll even out a little bit of the damage from Jug's race car.
One side's a little flattened. Hit it with the other side.
Gotta balance it out. Make sure the aerodynamics are working correctly.
Yeah, maybe we should
Jug back up into fourth. But this is where it's going to get tough for him, I think, because Skeppy is not going to want to let him by, because Skeppy usually has great race pace and prides himself on being able to defend well if he's in front. John's not going to want to let him by because he needs it for the championship, and Stolowski won't want to let him by because it's for the race lead. You don't want to let anyone by for the race lead, so this is where Jug's going to have a little bit of trouble. We'll see how easy it is to pass at this racetrack right here and right now. That Lexus has always had good straight line speed, but with Skeppy getting a really good toe off of John and John getting a decent toe off Stolowski, it's going to be difficult for that Lexus to make up ground.
Yeah, it's going to be more so driver skill than car at this point now, because I mean, the dirty air is going to be pretty much hitting Jug the hardest because he's fourth in this train. So he's going to get dirty air not only off of Skeppy, but John and Stolowski all together. So on top of that, it's just going to be if he can try to outbrake Skeppy, get on the throttle earlier than Skeppy, And then even after that, he has to go after John, but apparently John may be on the back foot here, kind of losing a little bit of pace through the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, Stolski's pulled away a little bit here, and here comes Skeppy. John a little bit wide through turn 1, and now the head up Eau Rouge. Close between these three. Jug, you can see him sticking his nose out there, trying to get a clear view of the run-up. Skeppy cuts the corner a little bit on the top of the hill, but now these three closing up to each other. Could we see 3 wide? Skeppy's going to look to the inside. Here comes Jug. Jug doesn't know where to go. He's going to try up the middle. They're going to go 3 wide into the chicane. Here comes Jug up the middle. Looks like he's outbroken both the Mercs, and he's made it work. John off on the left-hand side. So was Jug. I think Skeppy was a little too far back to capitalize on Jug's mistake through the chicane, but John has gotten overtaken by not 1 but 2 race cars in 1 corner.
Jug has to give that position back. He overtook Skeppy and John off the track. John realized that. He let Skeppy past him. So, I mean, Jug has to let Skeppy back through here if he can drive through for track limits. That's car 78. That's going to be Carnival.
Carnival, a early track limits penalty. Here comes Skeppy down the inside of Jug. Jug not fighting it too hard, so I think he realizes he does have to give that place back. And Skeppy will move back up into second place. Carnival with the penalty is interesting because that is a drive-through. It's not like F1 where you get incremental 3-second penalties and it's not too detrimental to your race. Here it's a big penalty for track limit warnings and other warnings that you may get. So Carnival is going to be on the back foot, and like we've said all day, limiting those types of mistakes, it's going to get you a good finish today, and Carnival might have cost him a good top 5 finishing position.
Well, good for him though is there's still plenty of time, well over 100 minutes left still in this Grand Prix, so there's still plenty of time to recover from it, but he's going to have a lot of work to do. But speaking of work to do, Jug has once again, he's now left Skeppy fast back at Ronchimon and around Pouan. But now that he's behind Skeppy, he now needs to overtake that Mercedes again, who's gone a little bit too deep through turn 1. And Lysos, and that's going to give Jug a perfect opportunity as he will wheel the wheel down into Rouge and Radion.
Side by side, it doesn't work very well. We'll see who backs out, who decides to stick it. They're both going to go for it. Side by side, a bit of contact on the way in. Skeppy has to cut the track. Jug is going to get through. They're still side by side on the exit after Skeppy rejoins. They're still side by side. Here comes Carnival. He's trying to get by John. Is 2 by 2, second through 5th. Jug a little bit more straight line speed in the Lexus. Can Skeppy outbrake him around the outside? He's going to try it, but I think Jug has a little bit too much, and he'll take back second place and will try and charge. It's a 5-second gap to Stolowski, who has loved this battle between these guys more than us, as he's been able to get a lead. And we have a yellow flag off at the back into the pit lane with a reset, so not the way they wanted this one to go.
Carnival Skeppy side by side. Oh,
that's a bit of lag. I thought one was off the racetrack. Off the track was Neymar back there behind with Calzoner fighting out for 8th place. Skeppy losing, sorry, that's John. He lost a spot to Feta. So Feta looking pretty good right now, and this is a big battle pack. These guys have been holding each other up a lot, and Stolowski again absolutely loving this at the moment.
Well, right now, remember, Carnival has that drive-through penalty that I believe he will have to serve this lap, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll relinquish Feta up into P4 to go chase after Skeppy, his old teammate from a season ago, like it was. So we'll see how he can do with that Lambo. The Lambo's looking quick still. Like you said, 5.3 now ahead of Jug. So he's actually extended that gap even more ever since Jug has been released. And Carnival does indeed pit.
So Carnival into the lane, has to serve the drive-through penalty. Doesn't have to go into his stall, so that'll save him a little bit of time, but not really that much in the context of the drive through that slow pit lane. Down the inside goes John on Feta. They're going to go side by side. Does anyone back out of this one up over? They would have seen what happened between Skeppy and Jug just a lap ago. They're going to risk their luck as well. Feta will go in deep. And that's a big contact. John lost the car. Feta way into the wall. Calzone off on the track. That's got to be a safety car for sure. Oh, that's more contact between Feta, and I believe that might have been GameStopper. And more contact, Feta just getting absolutely pummeled.
It's Alphanesis GameStopper as well. That is a definite safety car. Safety car is out. Taylor's going up, ready on now. On contact after again for good measure.
Huge damage.
I mean,
huge damage to Feta.
Wasn't going to work.
Championship implications for John as well, as he got some contact. Feta's car is still working, but
barely.
That is not good. It's definitely, the steering is off. That car will not handle good at all. He's gonna have to try and nurse this thing back to the pit lane if he can.
Looks like that right front tire's actually locked up fully.
That is heavy damage up Eau Rouge, and we've seen it in real life the past couple weeks. It's so dangerous going up there. Thankfully, this is a video game, and no one will get hurt, except maybe their wrists if they have their force feedback up pretty high, but thankfully everyone will be okay, and they'll be able to repair that car a decent bit. I'm not sure it'll be back to 100% after, but you'll be able to get back in the race if you can get it around.
Yeah, I mean, let's just go look
back
at the replay. I mean, obviously, I don't know if you're going to get it in time, but I mean, I'm going to say from my side is, I mean, we saw it with Skeppy and we saw it with Jug and how those two reacted and how it barely ended both of their races. Well, once again, John Feta, neither wanted to lift. John got on that curb and it just straight up sent him into Feta. Huge contact with the barriers for both those drivers. And actually, that is one thing I didn't see, is Calzone was clipped as well. So while those two were hit, Calzone spun to the right, hard into the barriers ahead. That was actually not even related to John and Feta's collision. So after that, then Feta had to rejoin onto the track, in which he did the best of his ability, trying to get back and not lose any time. Blindsided and smashed by Alphanesis and at full speed, and then T-boned by GameStopper. So Feta was hit by not only John, but GameStopper and Alphanesis as well. Heavy damage to them.
I'm on board Feta now as we're going to head up Eau Rouge. We're going to see what happens. John just runs a bit too deep, and Feta gets pushed into the wall. Does not flip over, but gets hit by so many cars on the way around. He tries to get the car back going, and another car coming up Eau Rouge just absolutely slams into the back of his race car, and another will come again and hit him once more. So much damage to that race car for Feta, as we'll get back to live action now. I would also like to shout out Altruit for the raid of 17. That is a crazy raid. Thank you so much for that, and I hope you have a nice night. If you guys are going to be tuning in to watch, welcome. We are under safety car conditions, and a lot of the field has come into the lane to make one of their 2 mandatory pit stops with an hour and a half to go.
Yeah, I mean, saw it firsthand. I mean, it was just a major incident, and it's not really much you could do. I mean, they saw what happened with Skeppy and Jug, and they thought, well, maybe we can try to do it again, you know, how it would work. But unfortunately, a little bit of an understeer trying with go side by side. Feta took anticipation, went the long way around. John understeer got on that curb, and it just did not sit well with that Mercedes. But now we're on the understeer car for the second time. And actually, just as many laps, I believe. We've done 2 green flag laps between the safety car periods. The first one happened to be a little bit of a lesser collision than that one. That was pretty major. That was incredible. But look at the clouds here. It's getting extremely dark. So the weather and the time is starting to go down and set on some of these guys. It's going to see how well do these cars change handling models, and how well do they react to the drivers in that matter. So, I mean, actually, Janot kind of drifting through Rivage, by the way. But Stilio, Arabian, and Hulk have all stayed out. They did not come in under the safety car. Solowski will be the first one who did, followed by Jug, Skeppy, Neymar, with Calzer and John still in the pits, once again recovering and repairing some of that heavy damage. Carnival, that's going to help him majorly because he had that drive-through, if you do remember, so he's now going to be saved from that.
And yeah, it's getting dark now, and that's one of the great things about Spa. We do it under a 24-hour progression, so we're going to see the darkest of night and the highest at noon. So it's who's got the most adaptable setup in the end of the day, because the track gets cooler at night, it heats up a little bit more in the day. Do you have the tire pressures in the right spots? Do you have the suspension and the cambers and toes all set up correctly to adapt to each condition? Oh, that's contact between Skeppy and I believe that's a lap car.
I think it's Jug.
Was it? No, it wasn't Jug. It was
29. It was the only car unless it was returned back to pit
Alpha
lane.
Nesis?
I don't think he left the pit lane.
Soviet Valkyrie. It would be Soviet Valkyrie, who's now in the pit lane. That's interesting. But that'll be front-end damage to Skeppy's race car, for sure.
Well, while that happened, Hulk and Salio has both went into the pit lane. That leaves only Arabian as the only driver who has yet to make his first standard scheduled stop. So Stolowski will be up to P2 now under the safety car. It should go in this time by, so keep in mind of that by the time we get down to Blanchimont. It's going to be relinquished again, but this time I think it's going to have a similar consequence. Now, we saw that the aggressive racing, that's with the sun coming down. Well, now the sun's gone. The driver's going to have a completely different track to adapt to with a little bit of light. So, I mean, it's the same track. It's not like it's gone unchanged on them. It's like, oh, no, there's now a right instead of a left. But it's still going to be difficult because now you're racing not only all the other drivers on the track. By the way, there's been 15, so a couple have retired from the Grand Prix completely and left the server. But not only are you racing them, you're racing now yourself, because you now have to race the dark. You're racing nature, yourself, and the drivers you're on the track with.
Yeah, it's gonna be all bunched up as well. So we'll see a lot of racing, and it's gonna be difficult because it's a lot harder to spot those braking points with only your headlights. There's not a lot of track lights around here, especially through the Sector 2 and beginning of Sector 3. So it's difficult. It's manageable, obviously. It's why people do race at night around here. It's just not ideal, to say the least, but we'll see how everybody handles it. I know last season, I believe it was Skeppy who absolutely fell off in the night stint because his setup just did not want to work at all during the cooler temperatures, and that cost him the race in the end because Stolowski was able to run away with it along with Jug. They were able to make it a bit of a two-car battle, and Skeppy had to try and claw back all the time in the last 20 minutes of the race, so didn't get there in the end. Obviously, Stolowski did win that race, but it adds another dynamic onto this already 2-hour-long race. We got 15 cars still. We've got alternating strategies with refueling and tire wear, and it's just something that these drivers have to handle once more. So
yep, that's going to be pretty much how it plays his cars. Taylor may try to go and signal the safety car being in this lap, or he may go and bring out one extra lap because the driver's still trying to catch up to that main pack. But the two in the pit lane right now, Sylvia Valkyrie and Feta, both of them are having the opposite kind of days. Feta, both unlucky, but Feta had that collision obviously at the top of Radion, and he's probably going to be done for a long, long time. That damage maybe just be unrepairable. But Soviet had the same kind of issue. However, it's different. They ran out of gas. So that's going to be one thing to go and worry about. As actually, I believe they're out of the race as well.
So retired from the races, Soviet Valkyrie. Feta's still in the lane, and if he's not careful here, he might get lapped by the field, which would not be ideal for his race. Either way, I don't think he's going to be able to get back to the field, even with the
Wait a minute, we have a
going
car's
a lap
moment.
down.
You gotta beat that pace car out.
He's beating it out. He's going to be able to get out just ahead of Taylor. But now we'll see how much damage he's got on that car quickly, because, well, we'll be able to see how fast he's going to be able to go and push that Lamborghini. It says he's 2 laps down. I'm not exactly sure that's correct on the timing sheet. We'll see in a minute once he gets back to the field, hopefully. But yeah, Fetta's got a lot of work to do now, especially if that car is still damaged. It's going to be so difficult for him to get back the track position that he had.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of time still, an hour and 28 minutes left to go. It's going to be a very, very difficult indeed, because I don't think he's going to be able to get back in time. I mean, look, he's going through into Pouon right now, and the field is going into No Name. So, I mean, he's not going to have quite enough time to get it all to the back of that train in the queue behind the safety car. But once there's still a long time to go, I mean, this is our second safety car in under an hour or so. So we possibly have that possibility of another one. Like I said, the last time I said this, the dark is still going to play a factor. So we could have another safety car. We could have a lot of things going on. We could just have an amazing strategy from Fetta. We'll have to see how he plays out. But once again, yes, he is indeed 2 laps down.
So he's going to need a safety car, at least one, to try and get back into the mix. He's going to try and drive it around. It looks like that car is okay handling wise, from what I can see. Doesn't look too slow in anything. It doesn't look like it's snapping understeer chronically off the road. So it looks like he's going to be okay to race. It's just whether or not he gets the lucky safety car or 2 to put him back in contention. So I believe we're going to go this time without Fetta anyway. It's going to be Arabian Killer leading us to the green. Stolowski, the net race leader, because Arabian Killer has not made one of his 2 pit stops. Everybody else has made 1. He will lead us to green. Taylor is going to pull off into the pit lane to the right-hand side of the racetrack. Arabian Killer decides when they go. Still weaving a little bit down this front straight. Might do the same as Stolowski did and go out of turn 1. Yes, he has gone Stolowski's wide, yeah, out of turn 1, but Arabian Killer has done that pretty well. He should not be under pressure going into Lacombe chicane. Gets it nicely through a Rouge and Radiant, and he'll be good to go. So a nice safety car restart from him. That's impressive, to say the least. He's not usually up front, so a good way to gain a bit of confidence for him. A side-by-side affair between Neymar and Skeppy. Skeppy under pressure from Neymar. Remember, Skeppy had that collision with, Valkyrie, that's Neymar getting loose, and slamming on the brakes was Calzone. He's able to stay out of Neymar's way. Nobody hits Neymar. Good wreck avoidance from those cars behind. But I was gonna say, I think Skeppy has some damage from that collision with Valkyrie, so keep an eye on his pace in this stint.
Solowski down the inside at Pouon against Arabian, and Arabian now has relinquished the P2. But like I was going to say, though, is Solowski anticipated that start excellently, and so he tried to step on the gas as fast as possible.
That's really deep for Arabian. Got put off by Jug, and Jug's made a nice move to it kind of bluffed up the inside, and he will sneak up the inside after Arabian goes too deep into the corner. Skeppy's going to be looking for a way through. They have fresher tires than Arabian, who has not made his pit stop yet. Here comes Skeppy now on the back of Arabian Killer. definitely going to be a move into the chicane here if he can get alongside. A little bit of dirty air washing out that car, so you can see Skeppy's car maybe not handling to the greatest of its abilities right now. Could be an issue with the setup, could be a bit of that front end damage, but looked pretty good on that exit. Oh, a snap of oversteer though, and looks like Arabian Killer's gonna be able to hold on to third for at least now.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing you did say is he had damage from that contact under the safety car with Soviet Valkyrie, but he also has that damage a little bit, I believe, slight damage, if any at all, the contact from Neymar. I was going to say that there's like zero love lost. None at all, probably, between those two. Skeppy and Neymar did not give an inch. Neymar just unfortunately got on the wrong foot of that collision between him and Skeppy.
Oh, that's a spin. Spin for Calzoner into the wall, up Eau Rouge, and he'll be trying to get back underway. Don't rejoin the racetrack like Feta, and he'll be good to go. So everybody else will avoid his race car, but that'll probably be damage for Calzoner. And another unfortunate day so far for Calzoner. He's not had things go his way this season.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed really that unless your name's John, you've not had much luck in that Mercedes. So hopefully that is the day that need to turn that around. Unfortunately, it seems to have been turned around for Skeppy at the expense of John and Calzoner once more. Mercedes running 8th and 9th respectively, with Skeppy up in 4th, still trying to go and dispose of Arabian in P3. Just cannot seem to find a way past the Aston.
Skeppy is still looking for that move. Might try again into the chicane. He looks really good under brakes there, but a little bit too wayward of the apex. So, remember when we had that 1 through 9 for the big 3 teams? Yeah, well, that's been a bit broken up now. We have Arabian Killer in the mix, and Feta not having the time he would have wanted. So they're a little bit broken off, and it's not a big train like it was before. It's a big gap from 2nd to 3rd, and then more gaps in between the rest of the field. Skeppy still looking for this move on Arabian Killer. He gets really close to braking, and that's maybe a bit of desync or a bit of a snap of oversteer for Arabian Killer. He's going to get passed now by Carnival and Skeppy, and maybe even Stylo if he can get enough. No, he won't be close enough into the braking zone, but maybe a little bit too hot on the brakes. Could not get the car slowed enough in the apex. Server latency looks pretty good compared to the last couple weeks, so I don't think it's going to be a desync issue there. So a little bit of a mistake, I think, maybe on the old tires from Arabian Killer.
That could be the case as well, because remember, the way that tires work is once they're stretched, it's hard to get back to where they once were. Well, now take that into account with the heating and cooling. But look at Stelio. He's going for a move left-hand side of Arabian into Lecombe. He's going to try to go around the outside. He won't even need the corner. He late brakes and is ahead of the Aston. Way ahead.
And keeps it on the track as well for good measure on the second apex. A nice textbook move from Stylo with the Lexus engine power that they just have had all season long. It's been an interesting dynamic to that race car, and it's really helped Jug stay out front in a lot of these races where maybe he doesn't have the front end grip that those Mercs behind him have had all season. Oh, that's a big snap of oversteer for Arabian Killer behind, and it gets Neymar tags him in the back end. Here comes John as well, looking for a bit of a drive back through the field after an unfortunate start to this race, and contact between him and Feta.
I don't think that car feels the same.
I don't think so either.
Because what I saw through him at the
looked
exit
as
of
good.
Pouon, it did not look like that's the normal line he used to take. We saw him up there with Skeppy, with Jug, with Stowe, with Carnival, and those guys up in the top 5, and he didn't have any of these problems, even with the dirty air. Looks like, I mean, he just snaps mid-apex. He's oversteering on entry. He's understeering a lot on exit, so keep an eye on John. He's going to have to try to nurse and just carry the car home, but he still has an hour and 20 minutes. It's going to be grueling for John. He's just going to have to do the best he can.
For his hope, it's that it's the nighttime stint and the car setup not reacting great to it, because we've seen Skeppy's not had great pace at the moment as well. He was able to only get by Arabian Killer because of a mistake in the final chicane. Another one from Arabian Killer. John will get through for 7th place. But yeah, those Mercs not great right now in the nighttime. Skeppy's about 7 seconds back from Jug, who is closing in on Slowski, and we'll have that lead battle for you in a few moments' time. So it's getting a little bit spread out now.
I wouldn't say that. But what I've seen the last couple of corners, actually, Solowski's actually gained a bit into the braking zone again. That's another 2 seconds of the beginning of the lap last time. By a yellow flag, that's going to be car 24. John off again, the same corner.
Oh, no.
Like I said, the
issues again.
Not right. Unfortunately,
No,
actually, fortunately,
not right.
He did not make any contact with cars like it was the last time. But Calzona gets past him, his teammate, up to 8th.
So John, not the day he's been looking for to try and take away that championship lead. And once again, he's going to be on the back foot entering the second half of the season like he was last season. He was second to Skeppy for a lot of that championship and could never make up the points under pressure. So it's looking like a very similar situation, but with a different points leader this season. So John in the same position, and yeah, that car definitely not right now. You can see it understeering everywhere, and something is awry in that Mercedes.
Well, we go from another story to quite the opposite one. Yet to stop so far, Arabian. Well, his teammate in Aston is a lap down. Alphanesis at 11th place. He's looking right now to get past Arabian. So that's going to be a big story, is where is Arabian going to fall out strategy-wise? He's going to go in maybe 17 minutes time, trying to stretch it and pit at the hour mark. But when will his second stop be? We'll have to see how that Aston plays out with strategy. Alphanesis goes wide.
Ooh, that's very wide from Alphanesis, but keeps it on the racetrack relatively well. You can really see in this nighttime how much the brakes glow on these race cars. It's incredible to watch and see how much force is being put through them every single turn. You can see it's red hot under there. And Alphanesis is still looking for a move on his Aston Martin team. Arabian will be looking for a late safety car where he will have a tire advantage.
Well,
that's
may
a
be
car
one.
off.
That is the Holt Smash and Redeemer at Blanchimont. And I believe that's another car, John.
John again involved in problems. Do we see a move from the safety car? Very slow between these guys in the final chicane. They're going to be able to get going. John's going to hit the pit lane and I assume try and repair some damage on whatever he can on that race car. But yeah, not the day John has been wanting today.
Not at all, and it's really unfortunate for him because, I mean, ever since, like we said, ever since that collision with Feta at the tap of Radion, it just has not been the same, and unfortunately, it's proving that time and time and again. I mean, he spun at the top of Radion again, and he spun, I'm not sure if this was with help or not, but at Blanchimont with Redeemer and with the 51 of Hulk Smash. So we'll have to figure out exactly what happened there. I could probably go look right quick.
By the way, Jug has closed in. He's almost within a second of Stolowski as they head through Blanchimont now. But Stolowski's managing the gap decently well at this stage. Both of them still with one pit stop remaining. So we'll see when they elect to make their final stops of the night. Yeah, the brakes are very hot. Oh, who's off?
Okay, I figured out what happened. I looked at the replay again. So what the issue was, Redeemer lost it at the apex of Blanchimont, and Hulk Smash went wide. John saw that. He had significant damage already to his car. So I'm guessing he did actually hit the barriers quite hard somewhere in the lap before that. And they almost collided, almost T-boning Hulk Smash to Redeemer. I mean, it was full speed for the Ferrari into his teammate almost, and it was just really close. Thankfully, they got away with it.
With that incident, we have a safety car out again. This will be the third one of the race. Taylor's been busy tonight, and
That's
rightfully
good.
so. We've had a lot of crashes and incidents so far, and we're not even an hour in. So now what do you do if you're a driver? Can you make it if you pit now? Can you make it to the end?
It's going to be a stretch. It really depends on the fuel tank and your fuel saving strategies. Some of these guys may have to use their engine modes if that is given to them. So, I mean, for example, I'm not exactly sure some of these cars, I mean, all of these cars, I guarantee they all have different engine modes. So, some cars may have a definite fuel saving mode, like some cars may have a safety car mode. If that's the case, some drivers may actually put that car into the safety car mode right now, because the fuel thing is going to be the issue. Tires, I think, can make, but guys like, Calzone's already in. John's in again because, I mean, he has to repair that damage. But Arabian, he's yet to stop. This is a perfect opportunity for him to get that stop out of the way. Hulk Smash is going in as well in the Ferrari. So, I mean, it's going to be tough because if you can make it to the end, how much tires are going to be left? And can you make it fuel-wise?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the fuel is going to be the issue. The tires, they should make it because they should be fine through this night stint, and then we shouldn't have too much daytime running to where it's going to be hampering the tires too much. So they should be all right to the end, and then yeah, it's whether or not you have enough fuel, and if your tank can hold enough. Can you save fuel? Can you lift and coast well enough to maintain a decent lap time? That's even if these guys want to chance it and go pit. By the way, this is a huge break for guys like Redeemer, Game Stopper, John, and Feta, who is 2 laps down. So Feta's going to be climbing back through the field to get his laps back, which is allowed in this. Traffic, making sure he doesn't hit anybody. You'll get 1 lap back, so now only 1 down. We'll see if he can get his 2nd lap back. But yeah, it's probably gonna be like an hour and 5 minutes to go when we get back underway.
Something like that.
If anyone dives into the pits here,
we'll see. I mean,
yeah, the brakes are probably a glitch on Xbox's end. None of the guys from the front will chance it. They're all going to stay on their preferred strategies. Calzone and Hulk Smash, by the way, yeah, well, that makes sense. He has not made one of his 2 stops. Yeah, I think it's probably an Xbox issue, because I'm on the older gen. I'm not on the new gen Xbox. So
what is the issue?
The brakes are permanently glowing red, which they would be glowing red into a lot of the braking zones anyway, but they're stuck glowing red now even when they're not even pushing the car. So it's definitely an issue on the games.
Yep.
I don't think that's exact.
I don't think so.
Ichigo has given his input saying tire temps are also going to be key. They're going to have them up a bit for the night, but not too high, and it'll be... He said it makes more sense if they were to pit once the night stint ends and get going again for the daytime. So yeah, you can change your pressure between stops, so a lot of those guys would be trying to manage that.
Well, I believe you were actually going to say this before I butted in with a comment about Arabian, but Calzone and Hulk Smash are both clear to the end of the Grand Prix.
Yes.
So the thing is,
AXA Finn in the chat. We have an ACC division on PC as well. If you join the Discord link above you, sent by Nightbot, you can hop in and we can get you sorted for that if you are interested. I know you said unfortunately on PC, but we do have Formula 1 divisions and PC division on PC as well as Xbox. So if you guys are interested, make sure you hop on.
Come hop on in. That's not good. 30-second stop and go for Arabian. That may be due to a speeding infringement. But Hulk Smash is back into the pit lane. I was going to say, I mean, these guys are clear to the end of the Grand Prix, but that means are they going to be able to make it? So Hulk Smash already proving that theory correct. They may have getting some damage already repaired, which I believe that's also on the back of that Ferrari anyway.
So, let's see, what do we have? A lot of guys still with one stop to make. League is based in the US. We're mainly USA and then a couple Oceania guys, because for them it would be about midday, so not too many Europeans who stay up in the early hours of the morning to drive, but a lot of us from the United States and other parts of North and South America. So safety car in, and we're gonna get back going here.
We forgot there was a race on. Safety car's being too entertaining. We see nothing but that.
So Arabian's not gonna be able to serve that stop-go under safety car conditions, but we will have Stolowski lead us back to green flag running. We'll see. He's going to go out of the first corner once again. It seems like a happy spot for these guys to go, but Jug's got a decent launch, and we've seen the Lexus with good straight line speed down the Camel Straight. Does he have a chance to... Oh, that's really cold tires between the second and third place Jug and Skeppy. They went way off up Radion, so not great launches for them. Stolowski got the tires warmed up and nicely sets off into the distance. No pressure from behind.
Nope, not at all, but we'll have to see how well those tires hang on, because, I mean, Jug and Skeppy, like you said, they didn't get a lot of good tire warm-up. Maybe that is maybe car-based, maybe driver-based. We'll have to figure that one out. Not many spacings under the safety car, I did notice, but Stolowski got it perfectly, 8/10 of a gap already. But some of these guys right now, Carnival is already trying to pressure on the back of Skeppy and Jug. The Lambo trying to get as close up to his teammate as he can. So we've seen nothing but Stolowski for the Lambo side, with Carnival being P4 at the max. Unfortunately, Feta is out of running for the Lambo team as well, though.
Feta's going to need another safety car to get back in this one, unfortunately. He was able to get his laps back, but still, he didn't get back to the queue before the safety car popped into the lane. Stolowski looks really, really good right now, and he's been leading most of this race, been dominant, if you will. He's been very good tonight. Jug is a very close second. He destroyed in qualifying, no doubt about that, but in the race, it's been Stolowski for the most part.
I believe we had a yellow flag at the exit of Puon, and I believe it may have been the Ferrari of Redeemer. He may have had a pretty massive crash because he reset to the pit lane and has retired from the Grand Prix as well. So that's now 13 runners down, and I believe 12 on the lead lap. I could actually be mistaken with that because Arabian is in the pits serving his 32nd, and John appears to be a lap down. I'm not sure if that is correct or not.
Yeah, I'm not positive on that. Don't know exactly how many are on the lead lap, but I do know that at least the top 8 are on the lead lap. So, and probably top 9. Arabian Killer is coming out of the lane now. It's another Cars moment, but I think this time he's going to be jumped. Yeah, he's easily going to be jumped, and he's going to be a lap down. So I think it is 9 cars on the lead lap for now.
From what I see here in the timetables, because I mean Calzone has just crossed the line. Alfanisa is going to be not far behind him. It's going to be 11 cars on the lead lap. That's going to be ending with John. So Hulk Smash and Feta both are about a lap down. 18 laps completed for them, 19 so far for the guys who have yet to cross the line, 20 for everyone else, starting with Calzona.
It's been about this top kind of 6 area for the most part. Neymar's fallen off a little bit in this night stint, but Stylo's gotten to grips with the Lexus machinery. He's been hopping around as a reserve. I think he might get a full-time ride, if I'm not mistaken, at Lexus, so he'll be able to work together with Neymar and Jug with some setups, and maybe we could see him fight for some podiums and wins as well. He's looking quite good, currently sitting in 5th. Carnival and Skeppy have their own little 2-car battle. Is Jug and Stolowski out front in a battle. Stylo a little too far off, Neymar's even farther off, and Calzona way off the back. It's really these 6 guys out front for this race win. We have a couple lap cars in the fray as well, but they're going to need a safety car to do anything in this one.
Well, it's funny how we started the race with the top 9 being the quote-unquote big 3. Well, now if you go look at the top 5, actually 6, 7 maybe region, if you could say, I mean, they're still in that top 7 region. Now you don't have the Lambo of Feta up there, and you also don't have John up there. That would have been completing that top big 3. But right now, the most competitive constructor, if you judge on the rest of like where they are compared to juggling a little bit deep, by the way, in Les Sources, but is Lambo. They look like right now 2 drivers in the top 4, and Carnival's actually getting closer to Skeppy. He's going to be within that range, but right now the battle is on the lead.
By the way, I had said it's mainly top 6 for this race when I kind of forgot about that guy in 7th. You see what he's got, one thing that these other guys out front don't have, and that's a green box next to their driver number, and that means he does not have to make another stop in this race. If he can stretch the fuel out, he's in a really good spot because he's not that far off these guys. He's maybe about a sector behind, but when these guys do make their final stops, he will cycle out to the race lead if he can keep it on the racetrack, that is, as he goes a little bit wide through Eau Rouge and Radillon. But don't count out Calzona just yet. If he can keep this car on the road, he might be in for a really, really good finish.
Yeah, we'll have to see, but that's also factoring in if we don't have another safety car. That's been one thing we've had plenty of so far this evening.
And I wouldn't even count out Stolowski and Jug and Skeppy and the likes of them recatching Calzona even after making pit stops. So we'll see how it plays out, but for now, still an hour to go. I assume we're probably going to see these guys start to come into the lane probably about 15 or so minutes, I would say, around that 45-minute mark, I think, is when we'll see cars open up into the lane, and that's about when daylight will start hitting the racetrack once again. So I think that'll be about prime time to switch tires, get the pressures right, and make sure you got enough fuel to get to the end.
Yeah, right now, I mean, the temperature is 17 degrees Celsius, so the track will heat up as the sun starts to come out, as we start seeing the light kind of shine in, as you see you look at the sky. It's not as dark as it was not too long ago, but one quick little thing on Calzona is he seemed to have a little bit of a struggle bus so far this afternoon, as we saw throughout the first couple stints or so. So hopefully this safety car, if it does come out, this will put him back in contention and possibly see how we could do. But, however, if it doesn't, it's also going to be benefiting him as well, because once again he has that mandatory stock cleared. So if he can make it to the Grand Prix end, if he can make it to the checkered flag, that is going to be a huge thing for Calzona and the Mercedes team.
Yeah, we'll see how he progresses. Hopefully he can get into a rhythm and give us a bit of a show. But how about hitting at the halfway mark? 1 hour remains for these 13 drivers still with us. We started with, I believe, 17. We've lost 4 in the first hour. We'll see who decides to keep with us, keep fighting. We'll see who gets some good finishes tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a race of attrition, and we've already seen some already take its course. We started with, I believe, 17 drivers. We're down 4, with a couple of drivers already a lap down. So once again, I believe it's 7 that are in realistic contention, and 11 are on the lead lap. So that's going to be the biggest story, is if a safety car comes out, those guys will have an easy chance to go catch up the safety car. But the guys can get their lap back who are already lapped. So Hulk and Feta, they will have a best chance to get it if a safety car does come out. But it's not guaranteed, so that's going to be the big thing. We've already seen some striking out as John runs a little bit wide through 702.
Still close between the two, though. They're within a second of each other easily. It's going to come down to consistency. I really think it will, because these guys are going to be getting tired. Now, this is when they're finishing their races normally in our hour-long races. They got to go the distance for another whole hour, so...
Neymar's off again. He spun at Puon, and I tried to contain it, but once again, he had some damage on the back of his Lexus, and Calzoner caught up to him, flashing his lights, trying to figure out a little bit of a buddy-buddy thing, and then he snapped. Is that a safety car? It is a safety car.
Yeah, we do. Taylor's moving on the exit of the pit lane. He's going to catch the field, and again, another huge break for Feta, Hulk Smash, and John. They're going to try and get their laps back ASAP, well, because actually I don't know how many more we're gonna have.
He just pitted again. Feta did, so this time
so is John.
They'll clear the laps.
Again. I think this will be when these guys are gonna make their final stops of the night. I think.
I believe so. Oh, this definitely helps.
Back into the pit lane.
Wait. Maybe the call has been revoked? What's gone on there? It looks like they're speeding up again, so maybe that call has been revoked? Not necessarily sure. Because, I mean...
Interesting.
If he resets the pit lane, I believe there's a 3-minute window he cannot go out.
So, no safety car then, maybe?
Well, a complete carpet tug from Feta and John. Right from beneath their feet.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, because they still look to be going at relatively good race speed.
Couple drivers come in. Neymar and Alphanesis are 2 of them. John's still servicing his Mercedes, I believe, through... I'm not sure if he's repairing damage or not, or maybe he has a lot of fuel in the car. But like you said, I believe... I'm not necessarily sure what's gone on, but it looks like they are going at relative race pace, so I guess the safety car has been revoked.
Let me see if they have anything. Don't see anything in the chat, so... Not exactly sure what has happened, but I think probably just carry on as normal now. A lot of guys making stops now. As you can see, it's getting a bit brighter out right now. It's Alphanesis, Neymar. John is coming out of the pit lane now as well. So a lot of these guys finishing their final stops of the night.
Well, actually, this helps a lot. We've actually not talked about him as of late. But GameStopper, due to all these safety cars, he got that redemption from a little bit ago earlier on when he had that collision, I'm believing. So with, I think, remember it was, I'm not necessarily sure, through turn 1, I believe, though. But, I mean, he got redemption for it. He got a safety car. He got it back into the groove. Now he's in the top 7 for the Bentley. He's actually the, I believe, the highest non-top team car ever since Arabian earlier on, who, by the way, has gone into stop this time by again to go and service his car for the second and final time for the Aston.
Well, it's hit the morning hours, the early morning hours in Belgium, and we are going to see the daytime running to finish out this race. But just keep an eye on the gap because it's about 45 or so seconds from Calzoner to the leader Stolowski. Just keep an eye on that gap because we'll see how it plays out after the final pit stops are made.
I could be mistaken, but I think Cold Carnival may have had a mistake because he was, remember, 1.2. Now he's behind Stelio and in 5th. So we could have a possible mistake from that.
Yeah, he's
or the Lambos, alright.
Quite far behind Stelio. It's about 10 seconds. Yeah, 10 seconds is the gap between the two. So Stylo moves up into 4th, and now Lexus is a bit of a stronger manufacturer overall. But Stolowski is still flying the flag for Lamborghini very nicely so far. This has to be his favorite racetrack on the game. There's no doubt about that. He's been incredible around here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to know contact with the safety car Taylor and see what exactly happened. He'll get to me in a second. Apparently, yeah, they did call off that safety car, so that's going to be something that has been said. But everyone has cleared their mandatory stop below 6th, except for the Bentley of GameStopper in 7th. Ironically, car 7 sitting in 7. So that's kind of a little coincidence there. But everyone in front of them still has that stop. Carnival is about 10 seconds behind Stelio there in P4 with Skeppy trying to chase after Jug a little bit, but he's about 5, almost 6 seconds behind, and it looks like the gap between Stelio and Jug have kind of increased a slight bit. Now it's about a second.
Yeah, we'll see if Skeppy can maybe close this gap to the top 2 now that we're hitting the daytime running again. We'll see if that was an issue in his setup or whatever. But yeah, we don't have... Oh, that's... Oh.
Wow.
A drive-through penalty for 2nd place by Juggernog for track limits. That is big, because this isn't like earlier where they had an hour and 45 minutes to make up that time and they had a bunch of safety cars as well. Jug has 52 minutes left in this race and a pit stop to make. This just got spicy.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, there's not much time for Jug, because remember, Jug has to do this drive-through, and on top of that, still that mandatory stop. So that's really going to hurt Lexus here. So this may be him off the podium, because go look at this. Everyone is kind of sequenced out, got into a rhythm, and spread out, which is the biggest thing here. Is I don't think, unless a colossal collision and a blindside collision, Jug does come into the stop, by the way. Oh, he hits the pit wall.
Oh, takes the pit wall with him. That's a Lewis Hamilton moment with that. You'll get into the lane, but you wonder, did that do any damage to the front end of the car that'll hinder his performance again? Jug, he had the pace in qualifying. He had that 1-lap pace, but he's just not had the greatest of consistency over the course of the race so far. He will probably need some sort of lifeline safety car to get back in this one. And this pit lane, by the way, is so long. It's one of the longest drive-throughs you have to serve. It's so painfully slow because, as well as you can see just on the outside of the orange bollards, you can see how fast the cars are going to your left-hand side. So it's a rough pit lane to get a drive-through in, and he's got to drive through the whole thing twice in the final 50 minutes, so.
The thing is, I believe it is a 37-kilometer, actually mile-an-hour pit lane. I believe it's 50 or 60 kilometers. But the thing is with them is it's the endurance pit lane. So you enter in the exit of the buck stop chicane, but while everyone is going about 160, 170 max down the first 2 straights, maybe if they can get up to speed quick enough, maybe 150, 140 more reasonable. You're going 37. So not only are you losing a ton of time because you can see them and hear them But, I mean, on track, you physically lose, what, 40, 50, maybe even a minute and a half?
I think it was about a minute, because if you look who's ahead of Jug right now, that is the man Calzoner. That gives us a very good reference, because Jug was right on the back of Stolowski for the race lead before serving a drive-through, not even making the actual pit stop. Calzoner is going to come out with about I would say, 30-second lead if he can hold it together.
That's huge. Like, this could be a real shock.
He might have pulled the strategy move of the century if this goes green to the end.
That's going to be a very interesting strategy, but one that has definitely seemed to play off. I mean, think about it. Jug now has to pit again, and that damage, I think, is going to affect that Lexus. I mean, that was a pretty significant hit to that barrier. But, I mean, so is GameStopper, so those two are going to pit behind him, so there's going to be zero threat out back between those guys immediately on track. Yeah. Then you have Cold Carnival, who's yet to stop as well, who's going to the bus stop chicane right now, and everyone in front of him. So it's going to be, like you said, I think he's going to get out clear ahead, and if he can just hold on, stay on the track, and not lose as much time, he could have a shock win or even a shock podium, which he did not expect, especially after him having that problem early on.
We don't know how much fuel saving he's going to have to do, but I think he can make it to the end if he keeps it on the road. So, one to watch in the closing stages. That's Jug back into the lane, 2 consecutive laps in a row. So this will be his stop for tires and a top off of fuel. So you have to drag back through the pit lane once again. So,
I mean, luckily for him.
Yeah, Calzoner had pit under that safety car. He didn't get back to the field.
Yeah.
For the restart, but he was about a sector behind or so when they went back green. So he pulled a good strategy call at the end there, topped off the fuel, made sure he got the tires on the thing, and I think he's going to try and go to the end, go for gold, and steal a race win from Stolowski.
Well, that would help out, by the way, Mercedes in the Constructors battle, because, I mean, if you see right now, their prime candidate and their prime driver, if you were to say, if you look at the championship drivers-wise, who's actually tied for the championship lead, John's down in 12th, so that's going to be a major point score taken away. They're now relying on Skeppy and Calzoner. Skeppy's doing a great job up in P2, not much better than he could honestly do, 10 seconds adrift of Slowski, but if Calzoner can grab this win from this and this amazing strategy call, that'll take points away from Lambo, and definitely Lexus now with Jug down in P6 with pitting again.
We're going to have a little battle emerge for second place between Stylo and Skeppy. Skeppy's fallen off the pace a little bit of Stolowski. He's not had the pace. And Stylo, he's looking pretty good. He's been very consistent. He hasn't been the fastest on the racetrack for sure, but he has been quietly consistent all day long, and he's driving up to the back of Skeppy. Jug is a lap down, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you're right with that.
He will be a lap down now after that. That's heartbreak for Jug after such a good qualifying.
I mean,
yeah, 10th place. 10th place we have a bit of a battle as well.
Yeah, I believe that's actually the closest on track with the Radiant and with Hulk. But like we said in qualifying,
this one.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Doesn't. Monitor this and the battle for second at the moment, and also keep an eye on first through fourth and P6, all with one mandatory stop to go. 45 minutes. I said this is probably about their window to come in and make their final stops of the day, but we'll see. Because of the safety cars, not sure exactly how much fuel they're going to have left. They might have a little bit more than what they were expecting, or they might have less because they maybe didn't top off the fuel as much as they did because of the safety cars that they thought they were going to have. So we will see what the strategy becomes. But right now, it's I think it's going to come down to whether or not Calzoner's going to have enough to go to the end, realistically. And then, can Stolowski, Skeppy, Stylo catch him?
It's going to be tough, but I think it's possible. Calzoner's going to have to save enough, which we don't know how necessarily he's doing it now. He could have the fuel modes on. He could be lifting and coasting to his absolute maximum ability. But we also have to see, can Stolowski and Skeppy, can they go and fuel to the rest of the race and have enough pace to go through it? Because, I mean, if they fuel to an extent where they have to save, they'll be in the same boat as Calzoner, and they're not going to gain nearly as much as they need to. But if they go too much, they could have the opposite problem, where they just have too much fuel, and they're just sliding around, burning their tires, and not really wasting a lot of fuel. So it's going to be a huge strategy call. It could work out for both of them. It's just gotta play right. As Carnival goes into
to get it right. So that's our first of the top 4 in. We'll see where he cycles out. It should be ahead of Jug, probably behind GameStopper in that gap. He should come out in P6. But yeah, we'll see how it all plays out from here. If you are interested, I just went and checked because the NASCAR Las Vegas race is on right now. Started at the same time this did. So they just finished up stage 2. Denny Hamlin is in the lead. Kyle Busch 2nd. Tyler Reddick is in 3rd. Truex is 4th. Logano 5th. If you're interested. Only 17 cars on the lead lap. Byron, Larson, Blaney, Bowman, Bell are all a lap down. So I'm not sure exactly what's happening there, but it's a sizable portion a lap down of the playoff grid. So we were interested in that, checking up on that.
It's fun, because I believe, didn't we have an NASCAR race happen and go on at Imola? We had the same kind of thing. I don't know, it's just tradition,
we had the same exact thing happen. Traditions.
Traditions.
And now Tyler Reddick is apparently leading, so I don't know what the heck's happening over there in Vegas.
Pit stops. The stage just ended, so they're having a little bit of fun, as I have it pulled up on the left-hand side. But if you go look at Cilio right now, he has some cars in front of him, and that one in front of him is not necessarily the one he's racing, but the one in front of him is Skeppy's in front of him, but the guy directly in front of Cilio is his teammate John. So that's not going to make it easy. John looks like he has a little bit of pace, and Skeppy's in the lane as well.
So that's Stolowski and Skeppy in. Stylo's going to go at least one more lap, so they're hitting their window and making it no more pit stops from here. So we'll see where they cycle out. We're going to keep an eye on Calzoner here. We'll hop on his car and see how he cycles out. How much of a gap will he have to Stolowski and Skeppy? That is the big question.
I believe we actually lost another driver as well. We're now down to 12. So one of the drivers retired from the Grand Prix.
Not sure who we lost. It was Cold Carnival, right? No, third Lamborghini.
That's not good. He may have disconnected. This race was going pretty well unless something drastic happened that we are unaware about. But that's unfortunate for the Lamborghini cab.
So Calzoner will pass Stolowski and Skeppy, who are still stationary, by the way. It's going to be a big gap for Calzoner, and that might have been the best strategy call we've maybe seen ever in the history of ACC, if this works. Stolowski's moving now out of the lane and will drive out, pit limiter off. We will see a drive-through for Neymar in 8th as well, so not the second half of the race that Neymar was looking for. He was driving well at the beginning, but he's fallen off. I think maybe his hand cramped a bit too many times.
To those unaware, he is driving on a controller, which is quite difficult to do in this game. I feel like we always point it out, but it's something that is still a remarkable feat even to this day. So he's now behind Alphanesis, and with that drive-through, it's not going to help out. Looks like Carnival actually is back, so you are right with that. He is now back in the session, and going to be, I believe, a little time before he can go out again, but that's not really going to help him much. Neymar has that drive-through, could possibly be enough. We'll have to figure that one out. Neymar going through Pouan, Carnival stuck in the pit lane.
I was basically dead on the gap, by the way. 29.7 is the gap from Calzoner to Stolowski for your race win. No safety car. That's going to be about a second a lap, and he's going to have to try and pass him within the final 10 minutes. I think he can do it. It's just whether or not he's going to keep his incredible consistency that he's had all race long. I think it'll be a good finish.
Yeah, well, look at you, little prediction man. Got the pit window right, got the exit gap right. Well, it looks like so far, Calzoner...
Watched too many of these races.
You have. That's, I guess it's a good thing, you know. It's still great racing, so... Carnival is going to be out behind. He's still not out of the pit lane yet, and he's actually, I believe, in threat of getting passed by his teammate, Feta. But this is going to be another detrimental blow to Lambo here, because Stowe is now going to be the only one scoring in the top 10. So that is going to be crucial that they get this win all caught up to Calzoner. So it's going to be a difficult feat, but it could be possible.
Would also like to point out that Stolowski's now in a Mercedes sandwich between Calzoner and Skeppy, so could be a little bit of team play happening there. Skeppy is a bit far back of Stolowski. But if Stolowski does catch Calzoner, Calzoner's able to defend well. You never know what could happen in these closing laps here in Spa, and I'm all here for it. If we see a little bit of team orders, I wouldn't be against it. It might make it a bit interesting for us.
Well, we actually have lost another driver, and it's Carnival again. This time, I believe he knows that it's kind of pointless. He's still stuck in the pit lane. So Feta's going to be the 12th driver on the grid so far. We've lost now, I believe that is the 5th driver so far this Grand Prix. We have 37 minutes remaining here at Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix in BRL ACC Season 3. And this is shaping up to be a good one. Calzoner, if you're now just tuning in, has done the strategy of the absolute lifetime. Calzoner has... He's going to have to save some fuel, though. We're going to see how that plays out. 27 seconds gap between him and Stolowski. Skeppy behind him by 15 seconds, and Stalo is now in the pit lane.
Him and GameStopper both into the lane, so our final 2 pit stops of the night will be completed shortly. We'll see where Stylo cycles out. We'll see if the undercut or overcut works between him and Skeppy. They were about 3 seconds apart, so we'll see how that gap works out. And obviously, I'm not sure exactly how much both of them would have had to refuel, so we'll see how the gap plays out between those two. By the way, championship-wise, it's not been a great race for our top 2. This is what Skeppy needed. He needed a clean day. He's sitting in 4th right now. Obviously, not exactly what he would have wanted. He would have obviously wanted a win, so every driver wants a win. But Jugs in 6th, make it 5th after GameStopper is in the lane. John's 11th, which is big. John can maybe get to 9th or 8th in a big comeback. Keep an eye on him, but it's a interesting day for the championship, to say the least, with a lot of contenders kind of nowhere, and it'll be close because Stolowski, if he is able to close that gap up to Calzoner, which he is right now, about a second a lap faster, it's going to come down to the wire. Stolowski could put himself into championship contention with this.
Well, we thought it's going to be close between Stalo and Skeppy. Well, it's possibly even closer than we thought. He's now off the jacks, and Skeppy is going to be to the left-hand side, now going up Rouge and Radion. There he is. So it's going to be even closer than we thought, but Stalo has to go through this exit pit lane. It's going to be even longer, actually. So it's going to be about a little bit of an undercut for Skeppy ahead of the Lexus.
So Skeppy will take back third. Right there, you can see on the timing sheets, 16 seconds is the gap from him to Stolowski. Stolowski's catching Calzoner. Skeppy really isn't. He's kind of maintained the gap that he's had so far, which is impressive for Calzoner. It's a bit maybe worrying for Skeppy. He's going to have to find his mojo again for the next upcoming rounds in the back half of the season. So we'll see if he can make a late title charge, but his consistency compared to last season is way off of what it was, and I don't even know if it's down to him driving so much as the other guys in the league have improved, because they've really stepped it up. We said it in qualifying as well. They were about a second and a 3/4 faster than last season's pole time around this very racetrack. So I think it's just it's a combination of Skeppy trying to get used to that Merc from the Audi, and then everybody else really taking a step forward this season.
Well, speaking of that Merc, John has actually caught up to Neymar. 4/10 of a second separates him. With Hulsmash was actually in this battle not too long ago down the Kimmel Straight. There was 3 cars within about a second and a half of each other. It just turns out that it did not work out too well for the Ferrari there. So John trying to battle away for 9th with Neymar.
Close between these two. John's trying to get every point. Every point matters, and every position matters in this short 10 race championship. So John is looking to try and get by Neymar, but Neymar wants every point as well. He's still 5th in the championship. He's not had a great run this weekend. He has a 5th, a 9th, and a 5th so far this season, and right now he's sitting at 9th, so he would continue that alternating streak if he can hold off John behind. Oh, and he might, because John's just taking a spin into the wall. A little tap shouldn't be too bad, but here comes Hulk smash as well. He'll slam on the brakes, making sure he doesn't run into the back of that Mercedes.
I have no idea what's going on with Mercedes, but as John had that little off at the exit of Blanchimont, Skeppy had a moment in the middle of Radillon where he had to take to the escape route and cut the Radillon corner ahead of the Kimmel Straight. Thankfully, he's all good and kept going on, and now he's trying to go catch up to that Lamborghini in front of him. Not only Stolowski, but his teammate Feta. Feta is a lap car. He's in the P12 at the moment, so this is not for position, but it's still a car that Skeppy needs to clear if he wants a chance to go catch after Stolowski. 18 seconds is the gap between him and the Lambo in front. The Lambo is about to hit the timing line in a few seconds to see the gap between him and the Mercedes of Calzoner. 17 seconds. That's even closer than it was before.
So Stolowski's really pouring on the pressure now, and Calzoner is going to have to try and cope with it. 30 minutes remain, and I want to give a big shout out to all the guys tuning in, because we've averaged 18 to 20 viewers the entire time so far, which it's mind-blowing to me, because this hasn't been the most exciting of races. It's been great at times, but we've had a lot of moments like this where we're just watching gaps go down and we're trying to commentate over it. So I appreciate every single one of you sticking along with us and enjoying it. But yeah, it's incredible. 18 to 20 viewers average is mind-blowing to me, because we've had some races where we've barely gotten 5 in this series, and then we've had some where we get huge hosts and we've had about 40. So to average 20 is amazing in my opinion. I hope you guys stick around for the rest of the season as well.
Yeah, it'll be a fun season to figure it out. We still have around, roughly after this, we have 6 more rounds, I believe. So we'll have a fun time to go figure out who can become the champion of the Breakout Racing League ACC tier for the 3rd season running. But let's go talk about the track temperature. I said it during the night stint. You want to know how differential the temperature was? Up 7 degrees. It was 17 degrees Celsius. Now it's 24. So these tires have definitely come alive. The track has come back alive. The heat's back into the tires and back into the track surface. The ambient temperature is 27 degrees Celsius. That's up quite significant from the nighttime as well.
And Ichigo, I hope to see you back in a couple one-off appearances in this, because I think you said you were going to be able to. I hope it comes to fruition. Miss my Ichigo win. We got Donington next week as well, which I believe is our another interesting format. We had the 2-hour race today. Next week in Donington, I think it's the 2 30-minute races, which makes for an interesting time of things, because it's a bit of a sprint and you still have to make the mandatory pit stop in the 30 minutes. So it's an interesting dynamic for the season.
Definitely interesting. It's going to be interesting indeed. I mean, because it's not just one race. It's just usually you have that 1 hour. You have lots of time for mistakes. You have little to no room for mistakes for those 2 sprint races. Speaking of sprint race, that's basically what we have now. Under 30 minutes left. And by the way, last time through the timing sector, 15 seconds separates Stolowski and Calzone. It's come down even more. Now it's underneath half an hour. It's time to hit the ground running for the Lambo of Stolowski. 14.5.
I think Stolowski's going to get there. It's whether or not Calzone has been kind of saving his stuff and waiting for the attack, or if he's using everything he's got right now and he's running out. So we'll see once Stolowski gets there. If he gets there, you never know. You never know. Could make a mistake or two. Could get a drive-through penalty. We've seen a couple already this race. I think Skeppy might be close to getting one. He's been off the track a few times. But, yeah, I think this will come down to the final 10 minutes of this race. We're going to see a battle for the win, and who knows if they get together. Could see a battle between Skeppy and Stylo. Jug get back on the podium. You never know what can happen in these final couple minutes. We've had a crazy an hour and a half before this, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting indeed. Speaking of interesting, Stylo's actually closed in a bit on Skeppy, about 3.5 seconds, now 3 seconds dead almost. And Stylo needs to get past the Lexus Zafetta, but that's what Skeppy did not too long ago. So let's see if he can get, the quicker he gets past this Lambo, the quicker he has a chance to go chase after that Mercedes. It could be a Stylo on the Lexus on the podium after all, but don't look now. Jug has actually gone to P5. He's gone and redeemed himself a bit. Got a little bit of a redemption drive going on, a recovery drive, if you may.
He got by Alphanesis for 5th, but it's going to be a tall order to gain any more than 5th place tonight. So, Jug, it's a good recovery, and I think he'll hold the points lead. It'll be close between him and Stolowski, I think, if Stolowski is able to get this win. But, yeah, we'll see afterwards, and I'll make sure you guys get updated about the point standings next week as well. So Stolowski is he's not looking at the points too much. He's making sure he keeps an eye on that Mercedes ahead of him. 11.7 seconds, 26.5 minutes to go. He's gonna get there. It's just, what does Calzone have in the tank to challenge?
I hate being the person who says this, but you can get there, but can you pass? That's the big thing here. You have to find a way past, because, I mean, around this 7-kilometer circuit, there's plenty of chances, but, I mean, you could have the pace advantage, but if you don't get it done, you still finish that P2 in this case of Stolowski behind Calzone. So it's going to be, where is the move going to get done? Is it going to be into Les Combes? Is it going to be into Les Sauces? Is it going to be maybe a bold move around the outside of it, part like maybe even Radillon or Blanchimont or Pouon? We have to figure it out. Well, this is about 25 minutes away. We'll figure it out. 10 seconds to go.
Yeah, I don't know where Stolowski's going to make this move. If I was Jug, I would know exactly where he's going to make that move. It's going to be down the Camel Straight. That Lexus has incredible straight line speed. Can't say exactly the same for the Lamborghini of Stolowski, but he was able to hold off Jug for most of that first stint, so maybe it is pretty good for him as well. So could be a relatively easy move. We could see him just drive up to the back of Calzone and go straight past, and we lose all excitement in the race win. But I'm hoping it doesn't go like that, and he's going to have to fight for this win, because that's what we all want to see. We all want to see a fight for the win. We all want to see some tires squeal, and we want to see a nice, clean battle. We don't want to see too much contact, obviously. That would be not great for either of the top two, but what we get is hopefully a good battle for the win. Speaking of battle, Neymar and John Neymar holding on down the Kemmel Straight with the straight line speed advantage he's got over John.
It's funny because I was going to actually shed some light on this battle too. You said top two. Well, at that very same moment, the top two in the championship were side by side down the Kemmel Straight. By Juggernog is actually closing in exponentially on his teammate Neymar. Neymar kind of all over that curb. This is having the best time in that Lexus. He actually lets his teammate go. Blue flag conditions. So team orders there, trying to let through but keep John behind. It'll be difficult, but he makes it happen. Neymar got to go defensive. But now Jug has cleared these two blue flag lap cars as he goes and tries to chase down Stalo in P4, which is going to be difficult. But John and Neymar, they're not done. John runs a little bit wide.
Neymar, known for his incredible defense in F1, not exactly the greatest defense in ACC. John's all over the back of him right now, but Neymar is definitely getting orders from Jug. Hold that guy up. That's the one I'm fighting in the championship. Please do not let him by. And he's done a decent job so far. We'll see if John's going to be able to get a move into the chicane. I don't think he will, though, because I think that Lex is a little bit too far ahead.
Well, you know who isn't far ahead anymore. Zalowski's got it under 7. Actually, now about 7.5, but that was at the last timing sector, so we have to wait into the end of Stavilo 1, that little short shoot before Stavilo 2, to see how far he's gained on Calzoner. This sector, he's definitely has the pace over it. He's had to fight for it. He's gotten about a 23, maybe 22.5 second gain ever since Zalowski came out of the pit lane. So he's had to fight for this win. If he can get it, it'll be pretty special.
Stylo as well closing in a little bit on Skeppy as well. 2.6 seconds is that gap. It was about 3 seconds, maybe about 5 minutes or so ago. But John all off. Oh, that was so close to the inside barrier at Radium. But Neymar is doing a spectacular job for Jug right now, trying to hold off John. And the thing is, because even if John does get by Neymar, if he gets by him about now, he does have a chance, if he can close a second a lap, to try and get to Arabian Killer, who's in 8th. So that'll be even less points gained for Jug, who's sitting in 5th, and realistically doesn't have much of a shot to try and catch Stylo and Skeppy ahead. So this matters right here, even though it's only for 8th through 10th place between these 3 cars. It matters a lot in championship terms.
Yeah, and I've seen John
and
really
that's a big spin. John got a little too impatient with Neymar and put the bumper to him, and that's a bit of a NASCAR style bump and run through Pouon. Well, John's gonna get up into 9th, but not sure if the stewards will have anything to say about that one afterwards. We'll see if any of them report that incident later.
Funny because we talk about, you know, our tradition of keeping up with the NASCAR race, which keeps on at the same time. Neymar just got NASCAR'd. He just straight out got moved out of the way.
I see Bailey in the chat. That's his signature style. NASCAR.
Yes, Neymar was NASCAR in terms of Bailey. But right now, go look at the top 2 and even the battle for 3rd. 1.2. Stalo has gotten to Skeppy, and Stilowski is almost within 5 seconds. It's time's on. 20 minutes to go.
Stylo will get to Skeppy, I believe, before Stolowski gets to Calzoner. I never mind, maybe not, because Stolowski just gained about a second and 2/10 on Calzoner. I don't see Calzona holding on to this lead for long, at least long enough to hold out 19 minutes of racing remaining. But I think he'll be okay to hold on to second at least, which is still an incredible strategy call from Calzona to even put himself in that position. He was running about mid-pack all day. He was the last of the Mercedes for most of the first couple, it was about the first hour really. He was the third Mercedes in line. He was behind a lot of the Lambos, behind a lot of the Lexuses as well. So it's been a great second stint from Calzona, and hopefully for his sake it stays clean to the end to pick up a podium, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to him afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, even if he doesn't grab this race win, it's still going to be an incredible achievement for him. Like you said, that strategy is going to be played off perfectly now. He just needs to get there 17 more minutes, so roughly about maybe less than 10 laps to go.
Yeah, about maybe more like 8-ish, I think. Because it's a little more than 2 minutes a lap, so I don't know exactly how many, but yeah, Neymar did kind of have that coming, in a sense, but still wasn't exactly right on John's part either. We'll see if anything gets resolved later on tonight in the stewarding room, but for now, we will continue to enjoy this battle between Skeppy and Stylo for third, and Stolowski, by the way, still very much closing in on Calzona. 2.4 is now that gap.
I've come to the conclusion you really don't necessarily need me. Your prediction of 8 laps, yeah, the calculation was 7.7, so
okay.
it's dead on again.
Call me Larry Mack with my trends.
The average amount of laps left at this time of the race.
Y'all
Speaking of that trend,
quiet out back on this racetrack for a late caution. It's
Speaking
about 2.
Of that, it should be. Let's see here. I'm actually going to have to take my Larry hat back on with about an average lap about 2.2, if you talk 2 minutes 20 seconds or so. The safety car, it has a maximum wait time of 2 laps, meaning that's going to be roughly about 2 laps of time. If there's 8 laps to go, I mean, I would say 5 laps to go, maybe around 10 or so minutes is when the safety car will have to be secluded. Yeah. That's going to be the cutoff window.
So probably about 7 minutes from now. I'm going to go back to the lead battle as it's really closed up now. I'm sorry, Skeppy and Stylo, but this is a little bit more important than that battle right now, as Calzona's fighting to keep this car on the racetrack. It's absolutely screaming for tires, and he should be okay on fuel, I would assume. But yeah, this gap is really, really closed down now. It is 1.0 seconds and closing still. So Stolowski's done he's done one of the hard parts of this, and the other part will be trying to get around this Mercedes. Will he be able to? He's got time, which is, he's gotten there a little bit ahead of schedule compared to what I thought he was going to be able to, and he's all over the back of Calzona now, looking to the inside of Pouhon. You maybe called this earlier, saying he might have a chance to make the move here, and he's done it, and he's made it stick up the inside, and a nice clean move, and that should see him to the checkered flag.
Whoa, Calzona almost lost it going
yeah.
into turn, I believe, after Pouhon. I'm not sure the turn number there, but I guess we're both technically right there. I did call one. I finally got you on one. But, however, you also said that it would possibly there's going to be a high probability that there was a chance he may just walk to Calzona and overtake him and be extremely anticlimactic. That's kind of what we got. But there's still a chance for a little climactic ending with Skeppy and Stylo in battle for third.
Yeah, I believe Calzona, as long as he's got enough fuel in that race car, he should stay ahead of this battle for third. We have a yellow flag in Sector 3. That is BRL Neymar in a wall. looks like he's going to be able to get back on track and probably into the pit lane. I don't think we will see Taylor come out for the one car off.
Well, I would hope not, but here comes Stalo on Skeppy. He had a little bit of a compromise exit. Skeppy did, exiting Stavilo 1 around the outside. Here we go on the run into Blanchimont. This is going to be a daring move. If Stalo can get it, Skeppy backs out. Stalo now goes up into P3. Now the highest Lexus now on the podium for Lexus.
So we're going to have a very different podium interview.
Oh, he's gone way too deep, though.
If it stays like this, oh, that's really wide into Apex 1 of the bus stop chicane. Here comes Skeppy looking, the tires screaming on the outside of that chicane, side by side now into turn 1. Who dares to brake first? It looks like Skeppy went a little bit more hesitant on the brakes, but he's going to have the inside line and the camber to get that one done. But we've seen all race long, this Lexus has been an absolute rocket ship in a straight line. Does he have a chance to fight back at the end of this straight? Skeppy wide through Eau Rouge and Radion, now down the Keppel straight. Here comes Style, trying to pull in for the slipstream, making sure he gets every ounce of slipstream off of that Mercedes. And look at that straight line speed, he just waltzes past, but Skeppy still got a nose in there, and Stylo again deep, outbraking himself again, and Skeppy is gonna stay ahead for third.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of mistakes that are happening with that right now into the corner. Seems that Stylo just cannot seem to get it slowed down enough, but Skeppy has the opposite problem going on. That's happened at the exit of Stavilo 1. It's happened right now a couple seconds ago on the run down in the Rivage. Skeppy seems to have just a little bit loss of traction on the exit of a lot of corners. Not sure if it's the curb, not sure if it's the car, not sure if it's the tires. It could have a lot of implications on it. So if Stalo can get through, get the brakes hard out and stop the corner, he could have a chance to pull away on Skeppy and the Mercedes. It's almost poetic. The hunters now become the hunted. Mercedes were leading and had that podium finish 1-3, and now they're trying to claw on for a two-car podium, period.
It's going to be tough because we've still got 12 and a half minutes to go of running, so it's going to be difficult because if he's already screaming, for tires now, imagine what it's going to be like in another 4 to 5 laps around this 2-minute and 20-second lap time circuit. So he's got a lot of work to do to try and hold off Stylo in the Lexus, and we might see an all different manufacturer podium if he can get around. It will be all three big three teams, if you will, with a car on the podium. Maybe not the ones you'd expect, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite the interesting race so far. I mean, Stowe has definitely been the lead Lamborghini, hands down. That has been no questions asked. Calzoner, however, like we said, he's been, I mean, at the first hour or so, was definitely the third fastest Mercedes, behind Skeppy and arguably John before they had their mistakes and offs and their races came clamping down, plus the strategy. So that has now put Calzoner as the lead Mercedes. By the way, he's actually kept on not too far adrift of Solowski, but Stalo, we didn't expect him to be the lead Lexus either. Juggernaut got into the 17s in qualifying, had an incredible pace, and now Stalo is going to look for the move on Skeppy going down into Lecombe.
He's going to have the inside this time compared to the outside last time. Again, a little bit hot on the brakes, but definitely not as bad as last time, and this might be the move. Done and dusted for Stylo if he can keep it under control for the final 10 minutes of this one. So Skeppy passed now for third, and at this point it's a tough call because Skeppy's going to be gaining points on Jug and John in the championship, but he will be losing points to Stolowski, who is en route to win this race tonight. So it's one step forward, kind of one step back for Skeppy if he finishes where he is now. But I'm not sure there's too much he can really do to try and get this third place back.
Well, it should be, if my calculations are right, 4 laps, or about a 2-minute, 20-second lap. That should be about 10 minutes. And that should be roughly enough for that safety car cutoff. So about 7 seconds from now, it's going to be the cutoff for safety car.
Yeah, we shouldn't see the safety car intervention any longer after this point, so Taylor Clan's duties are done for the night. We appreciate him. He actually ended up doing 9 laps in this race. He's 35 laps down on the timing screens, but still, that's it's 9 more laps than he did last week, so shows the difference in races. Even though that was a crazy wet race last weekend, a lot more safety car prone around this technical track, where it's very easy to just run off and hit a curb the wrong way, get some AstroTurf, don't get the traction down right, and your race could be over before it really begins. So thankfully for a lot of these guys, it hasn't gone that way. Oh, that's a drive-through penalty for Skeppy. I told you he was getting close to it, and it's finally come. And that'll do any chance of him taking away that third-place position.
Yeah, that's very heartbreaking for Skeppy indeed. It's also heartbreaking.
This becomes an interesting factor, because Jug was ahead of Skeppy before he served a drive-through and a mandatory pit stop. Skeppy's done a mandatory pit stop. Where does he come out now once he serves this drive-through in comparison to Jug?
It's got to be close.
It's got to be behind.
It's going to be close.
It will. I'm not sure how much either of them have been pushing, how much traffic they've really hit, but again, it'll be another one step forward, one step back kind of thing for Skeppy, because if he doesn't beat Jug in this race, he's going to be losing even more points to the championship leaders. It'll be Stolowski close to Jug's lead, and I believe Jug will hold on to the lead heading to Donington next week, but John will fall off the pace a little bit. He'll be around the vicinity of Stolowski, and then after that, it's anyone's game between Skeppy, Neymar, Calzoner as well is going to put himself in the fight. Cold Carnival did not have a great race today, so he'll fall out of it a little bit, but Game Stopper's got a decent 7th place finish tonight. He'll hold on to a good points day, so we'll see how it all shapes out in the point standings after tonight, but it's just hard. It's going to be another rough weekend for Skeppy. He's not had a great time in this season.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Once again, I said that it's unless your name is John, you never seem to have much luck with the Mercedes. Well, it looks like Calzoner is now taking that Mercedes luck so far today. Skeppy is in, and you may actually be right with this. Juggernog, as he crossed the Sector 1 timing line a couple bit ago, he was 49.2 seconds adrift off Skeppy. So it may be close, but I think Juggernog is going to get ahead of Skeppy for P4. Now, also down in 11th, Hulk Smash lost it at the top of Radion, by the way, and with that, he had to return to the pit lane. Well, that benefits Feta Cheese, who has had the entire race go wrong ever since, colliding majorly with a ton of cars at the top of Radion. I believe actually about 15 minutes or so into the Grand Prix, he's now getting a top 10 from it, and that has been a hard-fought victory for him.
Yeah, top 10 is a big day. After being 2 laps down in the beginning of the race, he's fought hard to claw back anything he's got. Here comes Jug now, coming out of turn 1 and now heading to Eau Rouge. Where is Skeppy? There he is on the exit, and it's going to be no competition. Jug is going to take over 4th place unless a mistake creeps in from Jug, or Skeppy's got lightning fast pace in the final 5 minutes of this race. I think Jug is going to steal a 4th place off of Skeppy.
Yeah, it's once again really, really unfortunate for Skeppy and for the Mercedes team. It looks like it seems that they can never get a full weekend under their belt with all 3 cars. They have one thing go wrong for one car or another thing go wrong for another car. It just never seems to happen. And once again, it's gone ahead today. I mean, it's going to be some good points again for Skeppy. P5 is going to be no slouch of points there, but it's a lot of points he could have missed out. It could have been a top 3. It could have been, honestly, it could be where Calzoner is, or even if complications didn't arise, it could have been where Solowski is. We'll have to see next week in Donington how that, I guess, reshapes itself for Mercedes.
I was going to say keep an eye on Stylo catching Calzona, because Calzona really fell off those final. He's 25 seconds off Stolowski now with an incredible tire drop-off for him, or fuel conservation mode, not too sure which is which. But Stylo just lost like 7 seconds to Calzona when I was about to say it. So, he's lost another 2. Is there something wrong in this Lexus? I'm not sure. I'll check the replay real quick. This is not the car.
I don't see really anything yet. Well, I figured out why Neymar is still in the pits. He's kind of just chilling beside the safety car. I believe he's actually just parked it and is done for the day down in 12th for Lexus.
So yeah, Neymar's he's gonna get points for 12th because he's gonna be able to stick in the race. But yeah, not the afternoon he would have wanted. It was always gonna be a tough one for him. The longer races do not suit him, his driving style and his inputs. So credit where credit's due, getting the car to practically the end of the race. But yeah, it's not great finish for him. Not a great point today. Stylo's got something wrong. There is definitely something wrong in this Lexus, and he's just lost another 2 seconds to Calzona. I think he'll be okay. 36 seconds in 3 minutes, really pushing it. So I think he'll be okay to hold on to the podium. We'll get to talk to him and see maybe what happened. We get a question with him, hopefully. But can't be mad with the podium. But he might have been able to get P2 off Calzona, because Calzona was really falling off there, and he was about 8 seconds back with 4 minutes to go. It was possible if he could have endured it, but yeah, he's just losing time hand over fist now. So yeah, not the finish he would have wanted, but it'll still be a good day.
Also notice Calzona has lost a significant amount over the course of the last about 5 minutes or so to Stolowski.
He's got to be fuel saving or something. Something has to be with him as well. Either fuel saving or the tires are just really falling off now as the track temperature continues to rise up to 29 degrees. It's still not in like overheating windows, but he's been on those tires for quite some time, so it's tough to say exactly how badly that car would handle after an hour-long stint. So an hour and 15-minute stint, to be more precise. So yeah, Calzona, again, still credit to the strategy call, because it gave him an extra maybe 4 to 5 places in this race overall. But as we approach the final minutes, he should hold on to a second if he just keeps it on the racetrack. Don't get a drive-through penalty now, because that would be terrible. So yeah, just make sure it stays on the track.
I could be wrong here, but I believe Stolowski's now going to go across, now going through Stevelo 2 to actually go and take the final lap here.
It will be, yes. It'll be the final lap of the race when he gets to the line, unless he backs off and
for a minute.
Scripts it a little bit. He scripts it. I don't think he can back off for a minute.
Nah, not that long.
We will see a 1 lap to go. And the last time I was hyping up a driver last week with John, I was talking about it and I was going to close up in the championship. Great drive this weekend. He gets binned in the final corner and almost loses the race win. So there is no traffic in front of Stolowski this time. He's made it to the final lap of the race, and it's been an incredible, dominant performance. He's led most of the laps this race. I believe he's probably led about 40 of them. Incredible consistency. It's great for his championship. He was sitting in third, 24 points off of the top 2 who were tied. And the gap will close, because the next closest car in the championship to him that he would be really fighting is Jug in 4th. John John is in 9th. He's not going to catch Arabian Killer unless a mistake creeps in for Arabian Killer in the closing moments of this race. So John John should come home with a 9th. Should not and will not get caught by Feta, who is 3 laps down. But
yeah, I believe most of these positions are actually locked here. I mean, Slowski's like 30
pretty
seconds
much,
above Calzoner.
Oh, John John has actually caught up 2 seconds to Killer, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to get that one done.
No, I believe you're right.
They're going to have another lap to do, I think.
It's still about 5 seconds and 20 corners. I mean, I mean, you think on paper that's doable, you know, like 4/10 a corner, but I don't think the pace difference between the Mercedes and the Aston is that significant.
Well, maybe it is. 3.5
Okay,
now.
yeah, I could stand corrected here.
That. We will keep an eye on that. Every position matters. Stolowski is coming through now into Sector 3 a little bit wide, but making sure he keeps it. Do not pick up any more track limit warnings because you cannot afford one right now. You would get a 30-second time penalty and kill your race. Calzoner, I don't know actually if he's in that 30-second window, but still. Rounding into the bus stop chicane, it's going to be a first win on the season for Stolowski. It'll be his best result in quite some time. Stolowski is going to win the 2-hour endurance at Spa. Calzoner is going to be in the final sector now, and it's incredible strategy call. An hour and 15 minutes on the final stint. He's made it work, and he's going to pick up a 2nd place. We'll get to hopefully talk to him in a few moments' time. Calzoner into the final bus stop chicane. The lead Merc after a struggle first half of the race, but he'll be happy with a 2nd place finish in this one. Good points for him today. 2 places better than his previous best finish this season. And now into the final sector comes Stylo, only 12 seconds ahead of Jug, so he's thankful this race ended early. Otherwise, Jug could have snuck back into a podium position after his drive-through penalty that he would have had. But Stylo is going to come home and take his first podium ever in ACC in our league. So a great job by him to finish off the podium places. Alphanesis drove it into 6th place as well. He'll finish there. Jug will finish in 4th. Skeppy will finish 5th. We'll keep an eye on. Actually, John got by Arabian Killer.
He's out of
missed
gas.
that completely. Out of gas. Oh, that's unfortunate. So that must have been heavy lifting coasts for him. That's why John was catching by so much. So John will pick up an important position in the championship fight to bring home 8th. Not the day he would have wanted, though. Today he had too many mistakes creep into that one, and now we'll just have to wait for Arabian Killer to round out the field and finish in 9th, which will be his best finish of the season. His previous best was 11th, so a lot of personal bests coming in from it, a lot of these guys tonight, so good to see. Hopefully we'll get to talk to some of these podium drivers. We'll see if we can get them in the party and talk about what happened in those 2 hours with them. So see how many we can get here. Your final race results of the day. Stolowski, Calzoner, Stylo rounds out your podium. Juggernaut, Skeppy, top 5. Alphanesis, 6th. GameStopper, John, Arabian Killer, Feta rounds out the top 10. Hulk Smash, Neymar, and then it's Cold Carnival, who must have had some issues with internet or something. And it's Redeemer, Soviet Valkyrie, Gucci Lucci, Guardian, and Riley Whisper, who did not start the race, so they should not get classified tonight. That rounds out the field. We have Stolowski in. See if we can get Calzoner and Stylo. Sure. Let me see. So Stylo doesn't speak much English, so we will skip him. Catcher, if you hear,
Yes.
would you like to get Calzoner going on an interview?
Yeah, I could definitely do that. So let's go to you. Make sure your audio is included when we come to you, which is now. So click that box at the top of the party. Um, well, it's been an interesting race, I guess, from your side of the garage, to say the least. Going from definitely the third, like the clear-cut third best Mercedes car behind both your teammates, but then all of a sudden the tides just completely turn. You have John going up and having his incident at the top of Radion and the brink of the night. You have Skeppy having his drive-through, and all of a sudden you have this amazing strategy call that gets you from about 7th to 2nd and almost could have gotten you that lead. You just didn't necessarily have the pace, so it ran you down, but that's still a great strategy call and a podium. What is that like from your side of the garage and from your point of view tonight?
Yeah, so it worked out alright. It was really tough because the tires were going, and it was really close on fuel. I maxed out what I could put into it, but I think at the end of the race I only had 1.8 extra liters. I had to spend a lot of time conserving fuel throughout the race, so it kind of held me back from challenging Solo a little bit more, but ultimately he just had more pace than I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask as well because I wasn't sure if it was tires or fuel.
Yeah,
The
fuel.
issue, so
I mean,
it was fuel.
I think I ran probably like 21 laps on the tires, something like that. Um, and the most I was using about 4 liters per lap, and you can only hold 120 in the Merc. So I don't know how much it was, but it was just really close on fuel. That made it really tough. But I was glad I was able to hold on to it and not lose it. Some points.
It's funny because you said it worked. I'm going to say that was the understatement of the century because Axel and I have probably touted that strategy. It's probably one of the best we've ever seen in ACC. So, yeah, it definitely worked, let's just say. But once again, congrats on your side of the garage as a podium and definitely some good luck that you needed after the last couple of races at Silverstone and at Hungary. So,
Yeah.
good to see you up there.
Thanks.
Stolowski.
Mm-hmm.
Was it boring, first of all, for you? Because it was a almost dominant performance from start to finish after you had taken away the race lead from Jug off the initial start. How did you cope with the pressure from behind in that first and did you think you were going to be able to catch Calzone at the end?
Well, yeah, it was a good race. The car really felt like it was on rails for about 90% of it, and that helped a lot. I've never felt this comfortable through Eau Rouge before. Like it was just easy flat every time, so that was a big advantage. As far as Calzoner, yeah, I came out of the pits and he had a 30-second gap on me, and I was like, shoot, that's like over a second a lap I have to gain. But I heard him talking about he might be marginal on fuel. So after a couple laps, I noticed he was about 4 seconds off his pace, and then I kind of realized I was going to catch him. But I mean, I didn't slow down or anything. But there's no need to. I mean, I didn't have any issues with track limits or anything, and the car just felt really good, so I just kept going. Um, yeah, and I think, like as the Lamborghini squad, we had a really good strategy going into this race, and a really good setup, and it was going really well for Carnival and Feta at the start, and then Feta had his issues, and I'm gutted for Carnival because he'd probably be up here on the podium if he didn't have those issues. So still a good race, good points.
Yeah, it was overall a good race. I believe you'll be just behind Jug for the points lead. Is that at all in your mind? We're coming up to about the halfway point, and you're in the fight a little bit more than last season. Is it in your mind, or are you still looking for all the race wins that you can get?
Oh, it's definitely in my mind. It's been a few seasons of league racing for me without a championship, so I feel like it's about time. Uh, so that's kind of my goal right now. Hopefully, I'll be able to be here for all the races going forward. It's kind of a question mark, but I try to make it work. So, yeah, that's the goal.
Hopefully you can make it work. Do you have any extra questions, Catcher, for Stolowski?
Not that I really know of, so unless you want me to wrap it out with all the times that I usually do, I think that should be okay.
You can, sure.
Unless that is what you do, sir.
Yeah, it is.
Then go for it. That's what I was asking. God. Making things hard.
So, that'll do it for us tonight. We've got to plug real quickly. We've got tiers 3 and 4 next Friday. They're at Portimao, so make sure you don't miss that. That's going to be an interesting race. It'll be some of the first league races that aren't like social races that I've seen at Portimao, so hopefully we'll have some good fun there. Tiers 2 and 1 will be on the Saturday as well. Don't forget we have F1 Realistic and F2 during the week, so if you're able to stop by, that would be awesome as well. And then obviously next Sunday again, we will have Donington, and I believe it'll be the 2-race, 30-minute each format, so we'll have some crazy action to cover next week as well. That'll do it for me and my co-com. I will see you guys next week.
Bye!
Bye.